All right, there we go, guys. Whew. Was that a long enough break for you guys? Do you want to go stretch your feet for a couple more minutes?
I can
Sure, why
see
not?
clearly now. PSVR2 was announced.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Work
We need
on
to.
a different
can
song.
see
Work on a
all
different song
the
to shove that into.
PSVR games.
I'm sorry. We're
Got
gonna
a triple A.
we're gonna need that in shanty form, please.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, somebody else added onto the shanty again.
We're gonna cue the cat. Here we go. Boom.
Do the cat, because I want to say hello to HNL Go 85, J Cape Game Cat, Berber Cat, hello, Charlie Festa Game Cat, what's up? You stay frosty, I will stay frosty. You stay frosty too, my friend. Peter Cordova, Julia the Game Cat, yo, Scopy Man the Game Cat, Brody the Game Cat. Trusty mods in the house tonight. Be on your best behavior. Robert Sullivan says, okay, it is just about time for Bryan Paul PSVR without parole and Dave Station PSVR and Ninja Gaiden AJ Underground PSVR ops caps. He says, oops, caps are on. That's better. I'm ready.
What up,
got
Robert
it.
Sullivan?
I like that. Ninja Gaiden AJ Underground. I could totally dig that. Tibbsy the Game Cat. LC2552 beats. Dan Kiefer, Steve IRE tuned in from Ireland. Peter Curtis Game Cat, a GameCast aficionado indeed here on time. Ghostfire Killer, DJ the Pumpkin Patch Kids. Shout out to Best Prime Pumpkins out there. Guys on fist bump to you. Fargo Soft, hello. Who else we got here? Great Tantrum JB in the house tonight. Frank Peteroo, hi. Gabriel 004, the license meow game cat. Meow 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow. Zach Lightning, Peter Cordova, Carlos Vieja, Creeper Betty, PSVR, Logan Foy, 182, hello, Herb, the 247, Gabe Cat, Shen Muso, LW McQuaid, the Cunning Cat. I learned something about LW recently. He's a scientist, guys. He is a man of science. That's great. X Pacer, X Ben Lee, the Game Cat, Decepticon. Yeah, Professor Lilith, hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tweeting.
I'm tweeting too. We're all tweeting, AJ. Sorry, we're tweeting.
What's all this tweeting without me?
Right? Tappy, tap, tap. McQuaid actually recommended some noodles for me to order, and I found them on Amazon.
Fancy.
And they're coming tomorrow, and I'm gonna make a McQuaid kind of meal here, and then report back to him. We'll see how that
What kind of
goes.
noodles we got coming in?
I don't know, man. I'd have to do some research and find. When people say you should really try this, I don't do research on it and stuff, and look into it and think about it a lot. I go, okay, put it in my Amazon shopping cart. It should be here tomorrow. That's
the story of how Bryan ended up with Lady Gaga Oreos.
Ah, there you go. Well, the other thing
It's
is,
not
Bryan,
far off.
weren't you the guy with the story of the massive Amazon box that just had like a little thing of mac and cheese in it?
That's me.
That was you, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
It was the biggest Amazon box I've ever gotten. Although I did order my mattress on Amazon, and it came in a giant duffel bag, rolled up flat. I was like, this is not going to be very good for my back, I'll tell you that. And then it's been amazing. I've loved it. It's buy your mattress on Amazon. Cheap. It's great. This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We bring it to you live because that's what live means. But you already knew that because you've done this before. And if you haven't done this before, hello. How are you? Welcome to the show. My name is Bryan Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And the guys to my right, the boys, Dave from Dave Station, VR.
Okay, that was my favorite one.
VR.
Is that from the new
That's my
Gojira
favorite
album?
one so far. That's not bad. Not
That
bad.
sounded like a track off the new Gojira album.
Yeah.
I gotta start experimenting. And that guy
The
on the
new
right hand
Gojira
side of the
album.
screen is AJ from Underground, PSVR Underground.
What is up, everybody? Did you hear the news lately? kind of a lot going on. Kind of a lot to talk about today. Really excited to get into it.
Yeah, I know we like to start the news every week with PS5 stuff, but I feel like something is going to precede that. Like something is actually going to be more important than PS5 to talk about, and I'm very, very excited
Like,
for
should
that.
we or shouldn't we? That might be the one.
Maybe, but before we even do, should we or shouldn't we? I think we could just give a shout out to Jay Meow with the $2 donation. Says, if you take 3 hours to talk about PSVR2, I swear, pow, right in the kisser. That's a thing.
3 goddamn hours.
That's right. It's actually not going to be the case. I don't think we're going to keep you waiting very long for that. World Hay says, we just want AJ. And you can have AJ. In fact,
I want
He's right
you
there.
to.
He's right there.
You can have me.
Asha Haka
We
Noodles.
can go.
This is
we can go.
McQuaid is chiming in here on his. He says Costco has them, but like Amazon, man, it's like everything on Amazon. It worked out perfectly.
Do you still need a membership to go to Costco?
That's why I didn't even
Must not be
check
that
out
hard to get.
Costco.
I'm
Because
sure. I'm sure as an adult I could figure out how to get a Costco membership. I just never considered it before.
I figure
And
if
it
my
seems
parents have a Costco
like-
membership, I mean, it can't be
see theirs,
super
right?
exclusive, right?
For sure.
I mean, I love my parents. I'm like, but I don't think they're like members of exclusive clubs. You know what I mean?
You know, what is that old saying? Any club that would have me as a member
I don't want to be part
is
of
not
it.
one I want to be a part of. Yeah.
For sure. All right, you guys, we have so much to talk about this week. Tons and tons of news. Obviously, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Make sure you join our Discord. That link is in the description below. Man, that's where everybody hangs out 24/7. I wake up, I brew some coffee, I hang out with you guys. It is the greatest part of my day. It's like, or it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm procrastinating to do my Yupitergrad review. And I'm going to watch you guys play games and hang out and talk. That's also the best part of my day. So make sure you do that. Hang out with us over there. What do you think, guys? Get the ball rolling here with a little game of should we or shouldn't we? 60 seconds up on the clock up on the counter the way that Jeremy likes it. Let's hope. And it's our time to let you know what we've been playing and or doing and or watching, and let you know whether you should also be playing and or watching and or doing those things. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Well, yeah, wasn't a super exciting response to that, was there?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking of mine. It
All
might
right.
be, shouldn't we, what Sean Yarbrough just said. Drink all day, saw down a tree in your backyard, it falls over and destroys your neighbor's fence.
Yeah, that's
a big
no.
shouldn't we.
Definite shouldn't
that's
we?
a sucks.
You don't need
Huge
60
shouldn't
seconds for
we.
that shit. All right,
Yeah.
AJ, on your mark. Get Dez. Go.
All right. So as usual, I like to reach into my bag of Saturday night live streams for a game that I checked out. Somebody recommended this one or requested this one, and I was so happy to hear the words Neptune Flux because basically it's an underwater exploration game. It's what I consider a hidden gem. It was one that honestly Ken Gumball was a huge fan of and always told me that he was so glad I mentioned it one day. And it's underwater exploration, pretty short. So I know there's like this big divide of people that like really long games, really short games. And this is on the shorter side for you. But if you like to explore in a little hovercraft thing, this game is an absolute should we. The big sale going on right now, but yeah, awesome little exploration adventure.
Funny enough, the guy who made that, at least at the time, lived in Orlando, and I think he was organizing these like VR developer meetups and stuff in town. I really meant to go to one of those, but I never got around to it. I don't know if he still lives around here or if he still does that, but yeah, he's local to me, the Neptune Flux guy. And it is just one guy who made that game.
Mm-hmm.
Total
Always love those stories.
Impressive stuff, yeah, for one dude.
Dave, do you need another second? Because I've got one ready to go.
Yeah, take yours.
All right.
I'll figure mine out.
All right, on my mark, get set, get Dez. What am I talking about? Go. Man, okay, so I've been trying to find like what my next little PlayStation Vita addiction is going to be because I've, love laying in bed, playing my Vita. At the end of the day, for some reason, I don't pull out the Switch, I pull out the Vita. And I finished Shovel Knight last week, and it was great. I got into Axiom Verge, and I was like, man, this isn't giving me what I want. And then in the interim, while I've been trying to figure out what I want to play, I've been playing Luftruasers. And I don't know if you guys remember, Luftruasers is a kind of like a shoot 'em up, but
Yeah.
it's monochrome. It's like kind of a brown and darker brown. It almost looks like it would belong on the OG Game Boy. But man, it's like some of the runs last seconds, and if you can last a couple minutes, then you're doing really, really well. And so you're like this little pilot. I think it's a kind of World War II theme, and you're shooting down other planes and stuff. It really does look like a Game Boy game, and you're getting fired at from the ships below, and it is just like super duper intense, and like it's addictive as hell, man. I'll die every 5 seconds and keep playing. It's a definite should we. It's awesome. Totally random, but man, I can't get enough of that game lately.
Yeah, I remember that. Couldn't you unlock like different color palettes? Kind of like, do you ever play Downwell?
I love Downwell. I played
the same style of
so many hours of
design as
Downwell.
Downwell.
Yep,
I love Downwell.
absolutely. And you actually end up unlocking different types of weapons, different types of like boosters and stuff, thrusters, and be able to customize 3 different parts of your ship. And so you can play 3, or not just 3 radically different ways, many different ways when you kind of mix and match. It's so much fun, man. Not bad for a shmup. I said it. It's a
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm up. I know.
Wow.
I'm growing.
Glad we can agree.
Yep. All right, Dave, ready?
I suppose so. I didn't have a good one in my head, but start the timer and I'm going to steal one from chat.
On your mark, get Des, go.
All right, so you Stay Frosty just mentioned Dragon's Crown. I love Dragon's Crown. I haven't played much lately, but I've got like the PS3 and the PS4 version. I think I got the Ultimate Steelbook edition or something like that. I love that game. Vanillaware always puts out really, really well-designed games, just like gorgeous art, fun gameplay. And, you know, they're all kind of a little different. This one is like a hack and slash, almost like a side-scrolling Gauntlet or Diablo or something like that. Like you level up your characters, you get loot. Diablo. But no, it's super fun. They have online multiplayer now, and I just love the style of those games. I've been playing also, 13 Sentinels I brought up earlier, and I just rebought what is that called? Odin Sphere Leftizer, whatever it is. I'm really looking forward to playing Odin Sphere. That's a should be, because that was on sale. That whole team, everything they do is great.
Did you ever play Princess Crown?
No, I haven't played that one. What is it on?
Nice. Saturn import, and then
Oh wow,
yeah,
it's Vanillaware.
Yeah,
they were around that long ago. I didn't realize.
Yeah, that was like their first very Vanillaware type game. Yeah, but it's great, man. It's very, I don't know. It feels like it has a little bit more depth than Odin Sphere does, but very, very similar.
Would you do me a solid and throw that into one of your retro streams one day?
Sure.
And let me know.
Absolutely,
because I'd love to see that.
You got it. Absolutely.
Sweet.
Shout out to Nihilus Ryan, the game feline, with a $5 tip. Says my PS Vita suggestion, and I gotta say, man, before I even finished reading, I was blown away when I just saw this tip. My PS Vita suggestion this week is Ys Origins. For those who remember Secret of Mana, dude, I'm not even kidding you. I was about to say that I started playing Ys Origins on Vita. But I was too tired. I put the little cartridge in and installed, and I was like ready to go. Then it had an update I had to download. And I was like, okay, let's download the update. And then by the time I started playing it, I was like really tired and I didn't want to like read stuff. And so I actually put it down after the very, very, very first tutorial battle. But that's the game I'm going to be playing. So that was amazing. Great suggestion and great minds. Okay. Nice. Don't mind me, guys. I am not organized right now, but I do remember that there was something I wanted to talk about before we get into the show. What's up?
We've got the viewer takeover reminder. We had Joel Green from Pistol Whip come on and talk shop about VR, about the state of it, about could immersion be too much immersion, get out of hand, where people start to forget reality at some point, the potential dangers of that. Yep. Bryan, there's also a thank you to Johnny Moles.
Yeah, absolutely. So please, again, we're trying something different with viewer takeover, 100%. But we need to hear your feedback. We need to know if this is the direction we should be heading. Developers on every week, just to kind of shoot the shit, promote their stuff a little bit, but then just hang out and talk VR. We like hearing a different voice, some inside perspective. And absolutely, I want to give a shout out to Johnny Moles, man, because Johnny sent me a PS5 camera adapter for obviously PlayStation VR, and said, give this to somebody who needs it. And that was awesome, man, because obviously those things go on eBay for $60-$70, and that's why I was going to do a giveaway. I was going to do a giveaway and be like, okay, let's, I don't know, man, leave a comment below, tell me something. And it didn't seem right, because it didn't seem like I could find a good way to give that away without it ending up in the hands of somebody who was just going to turn around and resell it, right? It's like no good deed goes unpunished. And so I just kind of hung on to it for probably a month or two until I saw somebody in our Discord that was struggling to get his camera adapter. And so I just want to let you know that, Johnny, thank you so much for sending that my way. I love being the middleman on this project and finding a camera adapter for somebody who needed one. Just another reason that this community is so fucking awesome. It's like every time I turn around, man, there's so much support for anything that's happening. There's so much support. And so we really appreciate you guys. You're awesome.
All right. But so guys, there's a lot to talk about today. We had a brand new VR game that was announced. Super exciting one, in fact. Couple more updates. A new game that came out today as well. On top of all this, there is a ginormous amount of games on sale right now that we're going to break down and do each and every single one. So get comfy. But we'll have your recommendations from the sale. But of course, guys, we're going to begin with the news, talking about anything PS5 related that is relevant. And guys, I'd have to say that this is kind of relevant because earlier this week, Sony announced the next generation VR headset coming to PlayStation 5. Let's go.
So,
oh yeah.
So, I mean, this is the most exciting news we could possibly have heard, period. Right? We've been speculating for so long, being like, when are they going to announce it? When are they going to release it? Blah, 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 blah. Like, and it just seemed, and there was a huge division of our audience and of course the world that was like, no, Sony's given up on PSVR. Like they've sent it out to pasture. They've left it to die. It's the next Vita. We've been hearing this stuff forever, and so just to get the announcement and to be like, yes, they are committed to this thing and it is happening. I mean, AJ and I basically talked about it for 2 hours on a live stream after the announcement happened. Attempted to. Man, I could not wake up that day. But that's why I want to kick the conversation over to Dave first, after we give a shout out here, of course, to Red Rover, send Joe Grover right over on Mars. On Mars? The effing game
on Mars.
Is
Rover,
that?
how did? Because the rover landed on Mars.
Man.
Remember? We just landed.
Rover.
What is it? Curiosity.
Totally get
Curiosity.
Huge historical moments all around.
And I'm like, well, what are we talking about? Mars something happened on Mars. I'm talking about VR. $30 tips. Thank you so much, man. He says, how does Stewie say pistol whip? Pistol whip. Pistol whip. And back under my rock. Dude, thank you so much for the tip. We really fucking appreciate you. But that's why we wanted to kick this conversation off with Dave. Because first of all, Dave's got to be out of here at 7 for work, and then he's going to come back, and then he's got a hard out at 9 for work.
That's correct.
And plus, you weren't part of that 2-hour conversation, man. So I kind of want to take in all your thoughts on PSVR2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting work IMs as soon as I start talking.
So here are my thoughts on PSVR2.
No, seriously, let me mute this dumb computer so I don't hear it at least. And then, I mean, this is one of those things where I was not expecting it to come this early, the announcement.
Yeah.
But it's a really good sign. You know, they all throughout the blog post, they're repeating, like, we're really into this VR stuff. Like, we are all in. We really want to make sure that this next gen thing is as good as it can be for you guys. And we'll let you know when we have more info. And I mean, there's not a whole lot to, like, geek out over yet, but I think we can geek out over the things that we know are probably going to happen. Like the DualSense triggers in the controllers, which are going to be full featured with thumbsticks, totally modern, motion controllers, and that will give us so many more opportunities, to get these games that everybody on PC hangs over our heads all the time. So, I mean, obviously really exciting. I think it's going to get a lot of people back into the PSVR just because, like, getting ready for that new thing that's going to come out. And there's at least something to talk about now as far as, like, they can announce PSVR 2 games, I think, right? Like the cat's out of the bag. Why can't they just talk about them now?
I think they'll wait. I think they'll wait a little bit longer. Like otherwise we would have gotten something today. I think they'll wait for maybe the headset to be a little bit closer. They did say in an interview with GQ Magazine, Jim Ryan did say that they will be sharing more info as the year goes on. So they're gonna trickle out info to us. But yeah, man, I mean that is the first thing that I could tell. That was like one of the first things that came up. They mentioned it's going to have higher resolution. I still think it's going to be 4K. I think we're getting 4K, guys. I think we're getting 4K screens here.
I mean, that's not unlikely considering, how far out it is. If they were like, it's coming out tomorrow, I'd be like, maybe. But given the extra year, allowing for the price to go down on a lot of these parts, I wouldn't be surprised at all. 4K does sound very, very likely at this point. I keep waiting for Dave to chime in, so don't mind the pauses between this.
So I mean, but that's the other thing is like one of the coolest things that I was hoping for was the adaptive triggers, the haptic feedback. They're going to be experimenting with that, and yeah, the adaptive triggers are so huge to me. Now, when it comes to the haptic feedback, obviously we know where the adaptive triggers go. They go on the triggers, but it will be interesting to see if they do expand that to other parts of the controller. Maybe grips. Maybe like, a grip button, something like that. It's not just the triggers that we could potentially see with the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers. It's not just those. There could be other features on the thing. We also saw some patents recently for proximity sensors, which they also mentioned in the interview with Dr. Greco about proximity sensors, which will enable things like potential hand tracking, finger tracking, stuff like that. And I've always taken the same stance on those things, which is, hand tracking is cool. It's a feature, but it doesn't make a game. You got to have a game, and that be all these amazing new innovative things that developers are coming up with need to be small features to the bigger picture game here.
Right. No, I 100% agree. And actually, I liked your theory that you had. I don't know if you said this during our live stream or if this was just something you happened to say in voice chat, that the adaptive triggers were likely a byproduct from that came in the DualSense were probably a byproduct of the R&D that Sony was doing for the PSVR2. Right, they're trying to make this like super immersive controller, and they were like, man, this thing is so fucking cool. Let's put it in our regular controller too. I really like that theory you had.
Did I have that theory?
I feel as though you just.
I will take credit. I will take credit for it.
Yeah, if it wasn't you,
yeah. I could see it have happened that way. Like, that makes sense. R&D wiggles its way into every piece of what they're working on, I'm sure, at some level.
So the other thing is there's going to be a wider field of view, which I think is going to be excellent. I was just talking with some of the cats lately about this, and they were saying like how much they would love to I never was bothered by the field of view. I always thought it was great, but when they pointed it out to me, I was like, you're right. Like you do see there's no light that comes in, which I think is the number one most important thing. I love that I like was really important for the design, but wider field of view is going to benefit in the long run. And yeah, I think that is something that I heard from a long time ago. It's in my a leaks video that I have about PSVR2 in the testing phases, and that is one of the things mentioned. That's pretty self-explanatory though. I think the new norm is like 120 degree field of view kind of thing. But what we're going to talk about today goes well beyond just what is mentioned in this article. However, they did say wider resolution field of view to tracking and input. Obviously, inside out tracking is the new hot thing right now. But it will be interesting to see if there's something else. If they, to what degree are they going to add more sensors, more tracking capabilities to have that improved?
Yeah, I like what we said about wider field of vision, and I think that's going to add a ton to the immersion. Because I think kind of taking this sort of from a backwards perspective, to be honest, like when you're playing with comfort settings on, and it sort of starts limiting your peripheral vision, and it like kills the immersion a little bit, but it keeps some people from being sick, so it's important. If you go backwards with that and you say you expand that field of vision, it like adds to the immersion and adds to your feeling of really being there, and like I think basically anything that makes some people sick is sort of like the thing that excites me about VR, right? Because if it's enough to make you sick, then suddenly I'm like, okay, it's convincing my body, or it's throwing my body for a loop and making me wonder like where I am really right now. And so to like kind of expand that field of view and really add to the immersion, I think is going to be incredible. And I think it's one of those things you don't really think about. You and I play primarily on PSVR, and so like we've gotten so used to those lenses and like that field of view that I don't think we're so used to just like staring straight ahead, and I feel like if we're like able to kind of like move our eyes around a little bit more, like all of this just like adds to the immersion so much. So very, that's like one of the things, like even more so than resolution, that I'm like interested in seeing, like just what it looks like, that very first scene that we see, how immersive it feels.
Now, one of the other things mentioned, and I'm curious to get Dave's input on this, if you're able to. The cord. They said that there's going to be. They haven't confirmed the full extent of the specs, but they did say that it will at least have a cord, and it's going to be a one cable solution.
So, what I want to get to the quote on this, just to absolutely say, 100%, because I know the wording on this is tricky. Here we go. It will connect to the PS5 with a single cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use while enabling a high fidelity visual experience. So before we even like pick that apart, do you guys think the cord is going to be required?
Yes, I think so. Probably. I had all these ideas about having played, Quest stuff over virtual desktop wirelessly in my apartment, and like being able to play PC stuff without any cables at all, right? But it looks like Sony didn't go that way, and that's totally fine. I mean, one wire is not a big deal, I think, for a lot of people, and anyone who is complaining about that really, I don't know, should be focusing on something else, because there's plenty of shortfalls in VR that aren't the fact that there's a little cable hanging from your head. Especially if they make this like a light, easy to, I would say maybe easily replaceable too. Like if it's something you can just take out and get a new one, maybe, USB-C cable, something universal. Give people the option to extend their cable if the one's not long enough by buying some other brand's USB-C, or, something like that would be good. Just not so proprietary as the breakout box and all these weird cables and stuff. If it was a little more universal, I think that'd be good. But I'm not worried about the cable itself. I'm sure it'll be lightweight enough that you won't even notice, really.
I know that's the one thing that people were complaining about of this whole thing. There were some people hoping for wireless. I still think there's a chance that it will be wireless or have a wireless option. The reason one thing that I think people don't understand just yet, and sort of why Jim Ryan words this, his interview in a certain way, he specifically mentions that this is phase 2, that this isn't the be all end all of VR headsets, because VR is still developing as a whole. So they are just keeping track with what the current progress of it is. And I think, wireless is something that has emerged, and that will definitely be important. But if that doesn't end up being an option, the only thing I could say is most likely because the technology is just not evolved yet. It's not there yet. And it needs more time. And those components, that technology, low power consumption tech has to be there if they want to deliver an inexpensive and high, they basically have the option for, is it going to be cheap or is it going to be the highest quality it can be? And if that's the only option, so be it. I am not anti cable, but I do think it could be definitely optimized better.
Yeah, it's a little interesting when you go to that GQ article, and he's basically confronted about the cord. He says we're actually not releasing any specs at this stage. That'll start to come over the course of this year, when we'll be talking more. I don't think, I really don't. You have to say, yeah, the breakout box is gone. Like, that's an important step for a lot of people. That's a mess of wires, and I think that's an important thing to tell people. It's like, yeah, when you connect this thing to your PlayStation 5, it's going to be one cord. And then for have him not just come out with a simple answer when asked about it in GQ. That I really think this is Sony being a little bit coy and saying, we don't want to show all of our cards yet. We don't want to tell you when it's coming out. We don't want to. Yes, when you connect it to your PS5, it's wired. It's one single wire, but they're not ready to say, but you can also unplug that wire. And in the end of that quote in the blog post says, real quick here. The single cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use while enabling a high fidelity visual experience. And so there's a little part of me that says, well, you know what? When you unplug that, you lose some of the visual fidelity, right? It's no longer sending a 4K image back and forth to the
Right.
headset. And so like you lose some of that visual fidelity. So that's, God, a lot of sirens on my end. Sorry. So I sort of think that's what they're saying there without actually saying it. But that's one of the many, many things we're looking forward to this year, because it's just, we don't know. We don't know. And they're being very coy about it. Instead of just saying, yes, it has a cord. They're saying it this way instead.
Yeah, this isn't, like I said, this isn't a complete thing. They haven't released the complete specs. Anything can happen. There were two quick points before we get to this tip here that looks awesome. There were two quick points that I will point out that seemed relevant, though. Julia, the Game Cat, said, I've heard so many stories of PSVR headsets being ruined because their dog chewed on the cord. Optional wire would be great. That is true. But I think the single cable does help you alleviate some of that. But yeah, ultimately that is part of the reason people want wireless solutions, because they have kids, they have pets, animals and stuff that can chew that cable. Most of the time you can get like a thing, but the other one was Gamer Chick 13, the Diet Pepsi Cat, says if you create a headset that can be both plugged in and wireless, then developers will be forced to create games that fit on a mobile device alone. It makes no sense for Sony to not utilize the PS5.
Whoa, wait, hold on a second. I just want to clarify. Dave, get in front of the fucking camera.
Listen, I'm looking for a tree guy because we got a $70 tip. Okay,
when we say wireless, we don't mean not utilizing the power of the PlayStation 5. We're saying that there are wireless ways. We've seen this with the ways that headsets interact with the PC before, and obviously all the Wi-Fi technology that's built into the PS5 have shown, in a lot of the patents that we've seen too, have shown that it seems like this could possibly just be utilizing the PlayStation 5 power, but wirelessly.
If the tech is there, it
I don't
will
want
have a
standalone.
wireless option.
I don't care about a standalone headset. I've already got a Quest. I don't need that.
And they're not making a standalone headset. I think that, like we've said, it is potential. You've got the Wi-Fi 6.1 on the PS5, and if you had that in the headset, it's not inconceivable that it would have a pretty strong connection.
Right. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1 are very strong connections, but again,
people will learn really quickly though if they go that route. If they do that, is that as much as wireless seems really cool, if you're getting bigger games that you want to spend more time in, you're going to end up with the cable plugged in anyways, because you need that power. Like with Quest, if you had Skyrim VR on Quest, for instance, you could play a tiny chunk of it before your headset died. And so you'd probably play with it plugged in the whole time anyways, even though it's wireless, right? And I think that that'll be an issue that people don't even think about, like, oh, this is going to be great. And then you realize in 2 hours it's time to stick the cable back in anyways. So you might as well just have it plugged in the whole time. All
right, guys, I want to address, it's a really generous tip that came through from Matthew Scanes.
That's for you, Matt.
We don't bring out Tree Guy very often, man. This is a special one with the Canadian $70 donation. Congrats on
$69.99.
Yeah, I the second I said it,
$69.99.
I always try to simplify, but yeah, okay, $69.99. Congrats on willing the PSVR2 Super Series X into existence. Longtime sub here due to the never-ending dedication and enthusiasm. Without Parole is the most genuine PSVR channel on YouTube since launch. Keep up the fantastic work, boys. Cheers. Thank you, dude, so very much.
Hell yeah, Matthew Gaines.
Very generous.
Rock, dude. I like how we decided it was the PSVR Series 1, ONE.
I just want to call it the PlayStation VR 1. ONE, just to like really confuse people.
ONE. Yeah, well, that's so no, it's ONE, so it doesn't confuse people, Brian.
No, of course. How would that confuse anybody?
PSX Series 1 VR, right? PSX.
You're right.
Yeah. It's the first. Yeah, it's the second iteration of the first generation of new technology.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Matthew. It's very, very generous of you. Also want to give a shout out to our friend J-Meow with the $1.99 donation. It says, any of you actually care a lot for wireless? I think we sort of answered that.
I was kind of talking about that just a second ago.
Yeah, I would like to, in all fairness, I guess he probably sent this tip way before we started talking about it. But yeah, I mean, I would like the option. And mostly so we don't have to hear people complain about it.
It is nice. Yeah, right. I care. I almost care about wireless at this point more for other people because, but again, it's a valid point that it is part of the immersion not being tethered. I totally understand that. For me, battery life and graphical fidelity and power is far more important than the wire. We will get to a day and age where everything is just normal, like going to be wireless. PlayStation controllers, believe it or not, used to have a wire, and people weren't like, well, people probably were saying the same thing, like, oh, it's not wireless. I wonder how long, people were saying that for before that happened. But yeah.
Shen also brings up, he says, I want room scale though. That wire better be long. And I think honestly, like, the only impediment to room scale right now is probably the camera, not the cable. Because
staying within the camera.
The cable's pretty damn long, to be honest. Like, if you have it anywhere near your play space, you've got a good, 10-foot square area where you can go without, fucking with the cable too much. So I think, maybe a longer cable, or like I said, the option to replace it with a longer cable if you want to swap it out for one.
Yeah, JB says battery life, image quality, and latency comes to play when you are wireless. Correct. And like, again, that will be a normal. That will be the norm eventually, but we got to let the technology has to be there. You can't just pull things that don't exist. A battery that weighs like a gram and then like lasts 5 days charge. We're just not there yet. Sorry. Yeah. We will be though one day.
For sure. Jamie says the PSVR cable stretches across my whole room. I don't have an issue with length right now. Go a few different ways with that. But it's the problem. The problem definitely is not even my camera. It is definitely the amount of space I have to play. I think a lot of people are in a similar situation as I am, where it's like, yeah, room scale is nice, like the ability to be able to like take a few steps in some direction and everything, but I don't want to actually be like, here's your play space, and now you're gonna walk around in it. Like, that's a great option. Like, I mean, there's so many different options for locomotion right now, and allowing people who have like an entire basement set up for their VR experience, that's great. But I think that those people are very few and far between. And so I'm still, despite all the improvements, I'm still for the most part going to be using whatever analog sticks they give us. We'll talk about that, I'm sure too. To move around. I'm not taking more than a step or two in any direction. That's for sure. But
I would fully expect analog sticks. Absolutely.
Do you think there's a better solution than analog sticks? I mean, obviously.
No, I don't think there is a better solution. I really
Don't say it.
There's not.
I don't think so, man. Other than just intuitive locomotion systems and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff you were able to do, go play Sirento, and if you can make that combat and that movement and locomotion system as good as they did with Sirento, having joysticks, having updated controllers is going to be absolutely beneficial to broadening the horizons of what is capable.
Yeah, I think we're all video gamers at heart. I know we always talk about how there's two very different groups of VR gamers. There are people who like want to play video games, and there are people who want everything to be as real as possible all the time. And I think those are the people who are going to be like, yes, room scale. I'm going to clear out my whole basement, and I'm going to walk around in this world. I don't want to use an analog stick. They want.
I don't like that.
No, I mean that's not what I'm looking for. I'm a gamer, and sometimes I just want to sit the fuck down on my couch and play a game with analog sticks.
I don't want to be anywhere near a pair of cyber shoes anytime in my fucking life. And 3D router can go take a hike, all that stuff. If you use it for accessibility purposes, that's fine, whatever.
Right.
But all these things that are about like increasing immersion by taking away basic gameplay inputs and replacing it with actually moving around. Like, I think the gameplay applications of that are fairly limited, honestly. Like, we know what to do with controllers and joysticks and buttons and stuff. And there's a lot you can do with that. You take that away and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the updated tracking method, and somebody was asking, so are we certain it's going to be inside out? I mean, that's just the current tech. So unless something else is developed or else they figure out a way to add on to that, that's just what we're going by right now. They haven't officially said any specs regarding that.
Right, nothing.
So we don't actually know.
Kind of insane if they made you buy another camera for this one.
It absolutely will not use the camera. Yeah,
it's not going to happen because like every piece of VR tech at this point is inside out. Like unless you buy a Rift S, which they don't even. Isn't a Rift S inside out tracking now too? Yeah,
Probably.
You'd
That's
have
the
to buy
new norm.
an
For sure.
original Rift to be able to get something that doesn't have inside out tracking, which they don't even sell.
I think that the tracking method they came up with was pretty actually genius at the time, because when you think about it, inside out, outside in, they're both having to focus and see an object. It's just the inside out works a lot better in terms of like camera being close and being able to freely roam around. But they kind of operate the same thing. Even playing with the Quest, if there's like little blind spots and stuff you can hit if it goes out of the camera. But that is absolutely, unless something else is developed, some sort of other form of tracking, that is absolutely the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I like the idea of analog sticks. I love those little patents that we've seen. The ones that look like GameCube controllers. Those look ideal to me. So I'm hoping that that's the final design for those. Very, very much looking forward to that. Quite a bit. They talked a bit, not much, I guess. They basically just said it's not coming out this year.
Correct. They said it's not coming out this year. But I still think, I guess at some point we'll have to make some pizza bets, and I want to bring up something real quick. We had a former pizza bet, some predictions, and somebody, Mr. Sci-Fi Game Cat Canaveral, I'm Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry. Sorry.
I think you just fused two awesome cats into one
we just
amorphous
fused two
blob.
game cats.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry remembered that's one of us three said that it would be announced in February. I don't know who that was, but we don't have to get all into that. It was probably you. But no, I actually really love the approach that Jim Ryan took on this conversation, his tone, his attitude, everything. He was basically saying when they're talking about the market is still nascent, it's still growing, it's still developing. And so it was great to hear his stance of, why not? We have a huge opportunity, them realizing that they can capitalize on this market and be one of the leaders. They love to innovate. They know that we love them to innovate, even if they don't always get every single thing right all the time. We like them to be the ones pushing the charge forward and stuff. And so it was just really, really awesome. I highly recommend going and checking out that article. But this, guys, the announcement of the PSVR2 opens up so many possibilities now. So many things. Every PS5 game that we have seen, we have to put under a microscope now and be like, could this have VR support? We just watched State of Play. I wrote down, what was that? Returnal showed a first-person thing. FNAF Security Breach looked like a first-person thing, as well as Deathloop. These are all games now we can put, take a look at. One of them, however, in the same interview, there was supposed to be a game that was a launch window game for PS5. That is Gran Turismo 7. And now that has all of a sudden, the same day as the PSVR 2 announcement for next gen, Gran Turismo also gets delayed to 2022. Coincidence? I think not, Brian. Because I had said earlier this year, if Gran Turismo 7 comes out and there's no mention of VR, I was like, okay, that's where I was like, we are officially in trouble. And then the PlayStation gods answered my cries and said, no, we're going to delay it. And you better believe Gran Turismo 7, I am marking it now. You want a pizza bet? Gran Turismo 7 is going to be a PS5 VR, whatever it's going to be called, launch game for sure.
Yeah, I can't bet against that. That is absolutely, at this point, a no-brainer, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their best-selling IP, and there's no better. And to be able to say, and it's every single aspect of this game. So many people are still disappointed with Gran Turismo Sport being like, oh, pieces of it are in VR. You can't play through the full campaign and unlock everything in VR. That's the biggest problem with that. And so, I don't know, man. It's like being able to say we have a full Gran Turismo game 100% in VR would be monumental.
I hope they come out with a racing wheel that isn't super duper expensive to go along with it. Because the thing is, everybody could get a HOTAS. I mean, when they're available, because they're not too expensive. I think I got mine for $50, really. And if I had an entry level wheel that I could play GT7 with in VR, I would absolutely do that. But a lot of the good ones are like $200 or $300 at least, right? Like the Logitechs and stuff. I think they're $200 or $300.
I have a pretty cheap one. I haven't priced any new ones. I would love to get one. For
there's some cheaper ones for like $150, but yeah,
it'd also be interesting to see one if they could adapt like an official Sony racing wheel that had DualSense support. Like the little vibrations and the kind of like feedback you get from that.
There is force feedback in the T150 Pro, the one that I have.
Oh, I'm just saying like an official kind of like DualSense version of the same thing would be cool. But yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Danorama Pajama. Got to get the name right because who knows where this is going to end up. Danorama Pajama with the $5 donation says, need some sound bites, Brian. Please say sausage and remix. Thanks. Sausage remix. Sausage remix.
Sausage
remix.
But yeah,
sausage.
I mean, not only this, guys. Recently, Impulse Gear. Let's get in. If you guys are cool with it, let's get into some of these games that we could potentially see.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The potential. There's so much potential. Impulse Gear recently teased us a little bit and said basically we're back, and we can't wait to show you something we've been working on pretty soon. I really obviously hope more than anything it's Farpoint 2, but I'll be excited no matter what. I'm pretty sure I'll be excited whatever they work on, because Farpoint was, I really think, way ahead of its time in terms of like the way that it came together.
I want to speculate on that, but also by fusing in one of my other conspiracy theories. I think Sony's well aware that one of the many reasons PSVR didn't sell like 2 or 3 times as much as it did is because when people looked at the games that were available for it, and we can get these comments on our top 25 list, people watch it and go, what the hell games are these? I've never heard of any of these, right? They didn't bring any of their major IPs over. They created new IPs, but if you don't have a headset, then before Astro's Playroom, you didn't know who that little adorable robot was running around the screen, waving at you, kind of falling around like a toddler, right? We fell in love with Astrobot, but like the rest of the world had no idea until Astro's Playroom. And so I really think that one of the things Sony is trying to do, or will be trying to do with PSVR 2, is start finding ways to get those big IPs into VR in some way or another, just so it seems like something that they're more gung-ho about, like more invested in. Because without a God of War, without an Uncharted, you could look at it and go, oh, they don't really care that much. So there's a part of me that says, Impulse Gear made a fantastic first-person shooter with Farpoint. They showed that they were able to like meld story and action and some good scares and everything. Kind of the perfect team to bring Resistance back.
Oh, yes, Resistance needs to come back,
right?
And it would work so well. So you had mentioned like Astrobot and stuff. So we actually had an article today from Video Games Chronicle. That said, this from Andy Robinson and Alex Calvin. I saw this through Nibble on Twitter. And it says, Sony is winding down original game development at its oldest first-party developer, Japan Studio. Yep. Multiple sources have told VGC. Now, this sounds alarming at first, but there's some good news here and more signs of something that will lead to another one of my predictions here. Says... the iconic developer behind Ape Escape, Gravity Rush, and Knack has seen the vast majority of its development staff let go. Very sorry for this to hear this. The sources said after their annual contracts were not renewed ahead of the company's next business year, which begins April 1st. However, guys, localization and business staff will remain in place, and a Sobi team, the team responsible for Astrobot games, will continue as a standalone studio within Sony Japan, it's claimed. Guys, I don't know about you, but this has got Astro PSVR 2 tech demo written all over it.
I feel like it's got Astro 2 written all over it.
I think one or the other. To me, there's either going to be like an Astrobot 2, a full-fledged sequel, or just a Astro's Playroom style thing to say, and a free pack-in thing. Same thing they did with the PS5 free thing that comes with it.
Totally
I could
possible.
see both happening. I mean, why not keep them around to do
Why not
that
both?
and a full game? Because that's what they did last time around, right? They gave
Yeah.
us that free playroom, and then they came back and said, "Hey, this is the most popular game in there. We made a whole game out of it." Who knows? Maybe the most popular game in their next kind of grab bag could be even more exciting than Astro, and maybe that's the one we get next. Instead of Astrobot 2. Like, I'm sure they still got plenty of good stuff up their sleeve.
Yeah, just to comment on the whole, shuttering Japan studio deal. It's interesting to me because they weren't just a team. Very seldom did a game ever come out and the big splash screen at the beginning was Japan Studio and nothing else. It was usually that was almost always there with another studio's name. Like these guys seem to just like help everybody. Like they were just Sony's go-to team to be like, yeah, and you and you and you and you and you and you. Like in Japan Studio was involved in everything. So like I don't feel like you shutter a studio like that without some consequences. So they obviously have a plan. Like how are all these other studios going to operate independently? So I we haven't gotten the full story about that, but I fucking better think that there's a story there. There has to be.
Well, the one thing that's kind of interesting to me is like two of their major developers left to form another studio. I heard it's somewhere in one of these articles they mentioned before they decided to do this. People had already jumped ship kind of and started their own thing. And it sounded like a lot of the existing Japan studio guys were going over there. Almost like a Kojima thing. Like,
Gotcha.
he started up his own thing, brought his own people with him. So hopefully they'll still be out there making stuff, or able to consult in some way. Because, like, they could still perform the same function, even if they're not technically called Japan Studio. If the same talented people are there, available to help out with games, maybe they'll still ask them for that help.
Yeah, they could totally be contracted for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see.
I want to give sorry, before we move on, I want to make sure we give a shout out to Donatello, the Scientist Game Cat, for the $20 tip he sent. Said, check out Without Parole retro stream Saturday morning and PSVR Underground Viewer's Choice stream Saturday evening. Both are excellent. That is true. AJ, I think my only scheduled stream on Without Parole retro is my kind of Saturday morning, Saturday day stream. And then your only real scheduled stream on your channel, AJ, is your Saturday night live stream where you take suggestions or you take requests from viewers.
I must play what they tell me to play, and it's
always Dreadhalls.
It's usually pretty good.
I have no scheduled live streams ever. Nothing ever scheduled.
But it's been really nice seeing you live again. We've seen you quite a few times over the last couple of weeks.
It's been working out well.
We also want to give a shout out to Valdex, maybe, with a Canadian $5 donation, saying, with no breakout box, the only viable connection with enough bandwidth with 2 4K streams is through USB-C. You could probably use any standard long cable.
Yeah. Right. It could be detachable. There's also an input on the front of the PS5, which I think will come to play here in this situation. But yeah, hopefully there is an option to unplug it and stuff. Usually Sony provides a pretty nice cable with the thing, but I'm no stranger to like immediately upgrading all the HDMI, whatever they give me to something bigger and better, just to have like the full capabilities, full maximum power, and stuff like that. So, so going back to this GQ article, this is one of my, honestly, this is not games related, to some degree, it kind of is, but it's one of my like most anticipated things about the headset. So, Jim Ryan was asked, the obvious question is, what has changed from the first headset? His first reply to this is, so this will be a completely new VR format for PS5. Seems like small words there, but really what I see this as, what he's saying this is, what are some of the things we always thought we were missing when it comes to the PSVR 1? When you first put on the headset and you're in the menu, I am to believe here that they are redesigning a brand new VR mode for the PS5 operating system, 3D environment UIs. different scenes, different stuff. Probably wouldn't be surprised if we see Truant Pixel involved with making some of the 3D art and themes. We're gonna likely have some VR themes. But yeah, 3D UI, probably more interactive. What do you guys think about that? That's just step one of what I'm gonna say here.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's I didn't mind it really on PlayStation 4 to be like, okay, I'm putting the headset on and I see the exact same thing that I see on my TV because, I get it. They kind of shoehorn the whole thing in. But when you're designing the PlayStation 5 with VR in mind, as we know they did, then there's certainly way more options. And with a little bit more power under the hood, you can certainly have more interactive environments, more, I don't know, man. I just want it to feel futuristic, man. I want there to be some floating cubes and stuff. I want to be able to pick up a game and shatter it with my hand, and that's how it launches. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, maybe it'll be White Moon Dreams or Sony London Studio.
Yeah.
But I could see Truant Pixel also being like a third party theme. But
what was
you got to think.
What was the thing they did that is causing you to keep coming back to Truant Pixel? What? Because they did something.
Well, so they did 2MD virtual football, but that's the only
Awesome
game I think they made.
Right.
But they did the official like PlayStation Classic theme or something. There was some rare.
Oh, that's right.
They are the White Moon Dreams of dynamic themes. They did Tetris Effect. They did like when you look and see how many Truant Pixel did. Is it Truant Pixel?
Truant.
Truant Pixel. Yeah. When you look and see how many themes they had their hands on, it is like everything, and they are just like the gods of themes. That being said, White Moon Dreams and Sony London are pretty good at this too, so it could be. But I just completely expect there to be different themes: daytime, nighttime, forest, relaxation places to hang out and have your menu. I am so excited about this feature because some games the main menu looks so good. I know it's not everyone's favorite game, but Final Fantasy 15, Monsters of the Deep, like you're in the main menu, you're underwater, there's giant fish swimming by you and stuff. That shit is awesome. Like it is like you really want to sit there. I mean, Bryan, talk about the original PlayStation VR demo disc, right, where the white thing comes up and the symbols are floating around you. How amazing was that just to see as a first impression?
It helped that it was the very first thing I ever saw in VR, but also it was perfect. Yeah, it was like soothing and relaxing and just like, wow, this is like, this is kind of what I expected VR to be when I was a kid. It was like, oh, here it is. It looks futuristic and cool and relaxing at the same time. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna take a wild stab in the dark and say that we've seen how Sony utilizes White Moon Dreams, and White Moon Dreams did. If you guys saw the Secret Heroes of PSVR video, those guys were responsible. I mean, like for every single element of those demo discs, not just the environment, but for putting every single piece of it together, and talking to every single developer that had a game on the disc, and like making sure that this all ran like within like this framework that they've created. It was. I mean, I feel like these guys know their stuff, and like they could definitely be, their potential could be tapped for PSVR2 stuff, whether it be UI, whether it be themes, whatever it is. And I kind of like the idea, like with with the PlayStation 5 UI currently, there's no need for dynamic themes really, because every single time you move to another game, you get the big splash page. Yes, there's a need for dynamic themes. I understand, but
it still would be nice.
But it changes, right? Every single game has its own kind of like static theme, and it would be very, very cool to have that in VR and be like, oh wow, even if it's a static image, as you kind of scroll through your menu, be like, wow, this is really cool, and like you're suddenly in like a waiting room for that game for a second, Reminds me of PlayStation Home. All the games there kind of had like their own areas, right?
I'm glad you mentioned PlayStation Home, Bryan, because that is potentially something we could see as well, kind of like a social thing. This is honestly part of the reason I think we're waiting until 2022, because they're going to be getting all this stuff together, all these different services. Something like PlayStation Home. Imagine how much bigger that would be if it was a pack-in with PSVR2. Like, oh my God, that would be so cool. The other thing in terms of services, we know that Sony PlayStation Store typically has movies, and Sony is a big company. It goes well beyond games, but they do have a movie part as division as well. And
Not that you know it from using the PlayStation 5. Just saying.
yeah, it is. I don't know where it is right now. Why the PlayStation 4 you can buy movies, PlayStation 5 you can't. But this is something else I think we're going to see that I'm super excited is that we'll have most likely some like movie theater type integration into these services like Netflix. Maybe Netflix will make their own. But I feel like it's almost already there. It's when you look at the cinema mode.
I gotta go, guys. It's
All right,
7
man.
o'clock.
All right,
Back
we'll see you in a
as
bit.
soon as I
All
can.
right. When you look at thanks, Dave. When you look at the cinema mode, I mean, it's very similar to what the other things are. It's just there's a whole thing that's built around it and stuff. To give you, instead of just looking at a screen, there's a movie theater now and stuff like that. So that's something else that I'm really, really looking forward to, watching movies with the cats and stuff, hanging out, watching Netflix or whatever it is. That is something I'm very, very interested to see. And I really hope they capitalize on it. But all the signs are pointing towards they are looking at everything. There's not something that's going to get missed here.
Yeah. I really do like. So I know this was sort of just in passing, but I don't know. Have we ever seen this name before? Oak V3D. I said PlayStation Apartment. Oak V. So and I would love to just be like, okay, I'm gonna sit on my couch and I put my headset on, and then it's like a nice apartment that I'm in, right? And I've gotten these trophies and stuff that I've collected from other games, and I can just kind of put them up on my shelf, or or these when you play other games, like you're given not trophies, but like actual physical items that you can sort of decorate your place with. Again, this is all very PlayStation Home, but I don't need like the whole world and stuff to go interact with. It would be nice to have like a social lobby to kind of like take the place of Rec Room. Not that Rec Room needs to be taken in place of, you know what I'm saying? But just like, so when you put on the headset, before you go to Rec Room, it's like, oh, I can just kind of like wander outside my apartment, and then there's like a lobby, a social lobby where like everyone's apartments are sort of connected. But just to be able to like be like, oh, this is my place. This is my virtual apartment where like I've made it my own. I think that would be just so cool to have something like that.
I would not want to visit your virtual apartment. It would be scary as all hell.
I mean, my actual apartment's scary as all hell, so this would only be scarier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one. But that's just an example of some of the stuff that we can end up seeing. When he says it's a brand new format, I really feel like there's going to be a big jump in that regard. It'd have to be, right? We're going to see a whole new bunch of services and stuff introduced along with this. It's not going to be like some tacked on thing. It's like you said, this system, the PS4, it's a miracle that we even got VR out of a PS4. I don't know how they did it, to be honest with you, because it's so underpowered and wasn't ready for it. And they somehow cobbled together something that was great like in many ways. But this is just going to be next level. This is going to be the VR. There's going to be so many people ready to jump on board to VR with this next iteration, which you saw from the beginning. And I don't think it was unfair completely. People wanted the tech to develop a little bit more, as long as you know that the limitations come because of the tech and the state of the tech, not just what they decided to do.
Right. I mean, how cool would it be? You leave your virtual apartment and there's, again, the lobby with people hanging out and stuff. But then there's a door that's a movie theater. You're like, hey guys, you want to go to a movie? Okay, boom, let's head in there. And it's like you're not scrolling through endless lists of apps on your PlayStation 5 flat home screen. You're just like, I'm going to go through that door, and that's the movie theater, and let's go choose our seats, and let's make some popcorn, and let's go have some fun. Joseph Martin said Brian's virtual apartment would have more cats. I'm good, man. I've got one cat here, and I got to be honest, like she's jealous all the time. If I don't come home at night, she like sniffs me for like 30 minutes the next morning. And is like, where have you been? Have you been with other cats? What's going on? Like, one cat's enough, man. She's my whole world. I love her. So
there's still a lot more to talk about here, but Snowy does ask PSVR2 price. What do you guys think?
It's so tough, man, because we don't know anything about it, right? And so not only do we not know any of the specs, but we also don't know, even if we knew the specs, we wouldn't know where the prices for those things are a year from now. So it's really tough when you don't know really anything about this thing. $400.
So there's two different.
It's really tough. $400.
400 could be one. I could also see 300, but if it's going to be 300, there's going to be accessories for it that you have to buy as well, and it's going to end up being more than $400. So I could see them going either way, but I could definitely see accessories keeping the price down, kind of. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think $400 is the safe bet here.
Yeah. Those controllers aren't going to be cheap, man. And so like those controllers are going to be packed in. Those controllers are going to be packed in. So like that's going to be part of the price, you know?
I think most of the cats in here, like Glacier Stream says, I don't care. I'll buy it. Whatever it is, I'll buy it. I'm kind of with you there. You just know that if it's going to be more expensive, it's probably going to have more features and stuff. No external memory cards that are $100 a piece, and I'm good. That's what kept me from buying a Vita.
Let me ask you this: What if Sony recognized the fact that there's definitely two markets out there for their next VR headset? One, like the market that will not buy it if there's a cable, and so they have one that has a battery pack that's able to be disconnected and has like the Wi-Fi stuff built into it, and then that's more expensive, right? But it's also maybe a little bit heftier, a little heavier, you know. And then they have another option that's a little cheaper, maybe a little lighter weight, and so people and obviously only connects with the cable. Would that be feasible for them to have two models of something that they're not even really sure how many they're going to sell?
I don't think they're going to do anything to break up the player base or anything, or the consumer base. And to me, making one standalone or something like that, and one, well,
not standalone. You know what I'm saying?
It wouldn't be standalone. It would just be a wireless model.
Yeah, absolutely. One could be unplugged and has a battery pack in the headset and has the Wi-Fi features, and so it's going to be more expensive, but you can unplug it and still use the PlayStation 5. And the other one, straight wire, no battery required, no Wi-Fi required.
I don't think there's going to be two different headsets. I think if anything, there will be options. There will be accessories to expand that if you want to do it. But as for two headsets, I don't think so. Maybe by the time PS6 comes around, maybe at most late in the life cycle, there'd be a second model like a PSVR2 Pro. But I don't see that happening unless it's just this amazing success and they have this momentum and can capitalize on releasing another headset that has more features and stuff similar to what the Quest and Quest 2 did. There is definitely a wireless market, but it's a different functionality. It's more, Quest is more like social than it is like AAA games, and I think they're going to want to keep it very focused. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think accessories will be able to expand on that, but I don't think there's gonna be two different headsets.
Yeah, this guy in the chat, is his name. He says, in this time of silicon shortages, different SKUs is a bad idea. I think that's the most convincing argument. Anyone who thinks that we're not splitting the user base at all, right? Because they're playing the same games and the same everything. So nothing actually gets split there. You're not selling different things to different people. But different SKUs might be tough, especially during the shortages.
There's actually an executive order that's supposed to go out today by President Biden that is supposed to address the shortage and how scarce the semiconductors are. So that's interesting. We've always heard of a lot of politicians and stuff talk about blaming VR games, blaming video games. So it was nice to see something related to, obviously, semiconductors go well beyond gaming and PlayStation VR. We're talking about technology as a whole. So this is something that we do hope to see. This is part of the reason of the shortage of PS5s and Xboxes right now. So it will be interesting to see if they actually have an effect, if they do some research. It sounds like it will. It sounds like they are working towards some kind of solution to figuring out why the shortage is and how to rectify that. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, that doesn't just pertain to gaming at all. It's like that shit's used in cars and stuff too. So like so many different markets are affected by it right now.
Yeah, CPUs, GPUs, all sorts of things. That is definitely what makes this kind of technology go.
Yeah. So we've sort of said quite a few times now. We're like, we don't know what's going to happen in a year from now. Blah 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 blah. Right.
Right.
But do you think it's going to come out a year from now?
So I think we will know the release date. If I had to guess, just off the top of my head, without thinking about it, and this could change, if I had to guess right now, I'd say pre-orders will go live the same day that they announced it a couple days ago. I feel like that's the day pre-orders are going to go live, or somewhere around there, around this time. I think they would have. I think just the market, the opportunity that they have, they are going to try and get it out as soon as possible. I know a lot of people think it's going to be end of next year or something. I really don't think so. I don't think it's going to have to be that long.
Yeah, that's way too long of a wait. I can't see them keeping the hype train running. Like they announced PlayStation VR1 I think in 2014, but that was like, hey, we're dabbling with virtual reality. Look at what we're doing, and they have to kind of like introduce that tech to the world, and so that was actually a 2 year wait before launch. So it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like based on that, like based on their history, that this is like out of the question. But I really think that I really do think that we're going to have PSVR 2s in our hands within 12 to 14 months. I would say that's a fair estimate.
Yeah. I think so too, especially because they said, they're going to tell us more this year. I don't know, man. It could definitely. They've already said it's coming 2022, so we know that. But
wait, did they say? They said it's not coming this year. But they didn't say 2022, though, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So technically, it could be 2023.
That's not happening, dude.
Right.
That's not happening.
I agree with you. It's not happening. But a lot of people have different opinions, and that is definitely one of them. They're just kind of like telling people it's in development now, and like kind of just making us wait for a while. I think one of the arguments tends to be the fact that like they haven't even sent dev kits out yet, that they're about to send dev kits out. And just to clarify for anyone who doesn't know how development works, it's you could have your game well into development, almost finished right now, and then get a Sony dev kit in your hand in the next couple months, and then have your game shipped 6 months after that. Like, the dev kit isn't what you're doing all of your development on. You're doing your development on high-end PCs. That's generally how things work.
It also depends on the developer too. Some developers are prepared for they have their code and everything that's in a maintainable way, and others like Joel Green from Pistol Whip said that their what's the name of their other games?
Oh, the Gallery.
The Gallery. He said like that was designed with like the first VR tech and is really hard to move over. So
yeah, it's basically like duct taped together, like just trying to make it work, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But jumping back into the games, the potential for games, obviously one of the biggest ones, I've already said Gran Turismo 7, I think is going to be a launch game. Impulse Gear, whatever they're working on, I'm so curious to hear what they have in the works. Another one, Lo-Fi, the Cyberpunk thing. Now, at one point, he had to kind of backtrack and say, oh, it's going to be, we're not confirming this is a VR game. Right. But, dude, we were like, come on, man. This game is built for the ground up for VR. They could make a flat port of it. But I was like, come on, man. That's not going to – that would completely take away the one thing that this game is, which is like, as of right now, a big immersive world, cyberpunk world to be in. Because from my understanding, there's not much more than the world right now. They've got a lot of work to do still, it sounds like to me. But this is one now that I expect to see once again. And it's not coming this year.
Not coming this year.
No, it could maybe be a launch title for PSVR 2, but unless they do a flat version this year. I think they originally said it was going to be coming this year, and I'm like, nope, not buying it.
My brain just shut down. What game were we talking about?
Lo-Fi.
Yes, okay. Yeah, no, I don't think it's coming this year.
Another one, obviously the big one here, Resident Evil 8. I am now on the I've been since that last Capcom showcase. I am 110% a believer that Resident Evil 8 will also be a launch PSVR 2 title kind of thing.
That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. I mean, I actually do think that we're going to. I think we're probably going to get Resident Evil 7 and 8 on PSVR 2. They're talking about these PS5 upgrades and remasters and stuff. Jamie Meow said that he could hear a slight echo from my voice. Are your headphones up really loud? Could there be bleed through?
Probably.
Okay,
Probably. I just turned them down.
I just wanted to make sure that like the problem was on my end.
Yeah, sorry.
So I do think you got to start wondering. Like one of the very very few complaints people had about Resident Evil 7 was it doesn't support move controllers. I mean, I fucking thought it played great with the DualShock, but yes, with move controllers, everything's more immersive. And so to actually have your hands in that world, if you're gonna like upgrade it for PlayStation 5, you might as well upgrade it for PlayStation VR2, and then go along for the ride with Village. And because man, again, suddenly we're not going to be saying, oh, this game's DualShock or this one's move controls or this one's aim controls. It's like you're going to have your VR controllers that not only have the sticks from the DualShock, but also full freedom of movement of hands. And so there's no more question, man. You get the best of both worlds. It's going to be awesome. And then all games, no one's ever going to be like, well, I'm not buying this because it's DualShock only. And it's like, this is so good, man. This is so good. These little things that like we kind of take for granted that are going to happen with next gen are like no longer an issue. That were big issues this gen. Very exciting.
Yeah. I've always said that, I never knock Resident Evil 7 for being DualShock, but I am 110% with those people saying they would rather have move controllers. And even stuff you've described to me before about moves being more immersive, making it more scary, like you're holding your hands out and stuff, makes it more scary. Imagine that, Brian. Don't you want to be more scared than you already are?
Absolutely.
You're not scared enough.
Dude.
If there's anything you need is more fear in your life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already such a little baby when it comes to playing horror games. They're my favorite thing in the world, but like it doesn't mean that I'm good at them or good at like, being brave in them. Because I'm not brave when I play them, and that's why I like them. You should see me in a haunted house, man. Like if I go to a haunted house with a group of people, I will be hiding behind you going, what's around the next corner, man? Like, because I love being scared, and that's great. And so, yeah, having my hands out in the world and feeling vulnerable and exposed. Let me ask you this. This sort of brings up a question I don't think we were anticipating on talking about. Do you think full body IK is going to also take a big step forward next gen? Do you think this is sort of going to come as part of the advancement in technology, where like every game we're going to have like a full body we're not going to have the floating hands conversation anymore? Or do you think it's going to be like, it depends on the game. Some games will have floating hands still, some won't.
I sure hope so, man, because I am definitely team full body IK. There's some games that can get away with it. But I, especially multiplayer games, I think Dave actually brought up that point, which I was like, I remember I like had it in my head. And then Dave said, well, it's really important for multiplayer games. And I'm like, yes, you think of Killing Floor Incursion. It's goofy looking around and seeing your multiplayer friends just being a floating head, a floating body and stuff, or floating hands. When you have IK, full body IK, it makes multiplayer so much better. And I think it's way more important for that than anything. I'm still team full body IK all the time. I use it in No Man's Sky, and it's so much fun. It helps me with the immersion, and it just feels better, looks better, everything. But I think nothing more is more important than for multiplayer. But I hope to see. I'm not a fan of floating hands. They're not a deal breaker for me, but I'm just not a fan of it.
Honestly, as long as I've got some forearms, like I would like everything up into my elbow, because I kind of don't see this stuff, like when I'm like in everyday life, like real life, this is as much as I see. I see my elbow up. Like I don't really see my shoulders or my, and that stuff can get in the way when it's not done properly. And again, we had this conversation about Saints and Sinners, where we're like, you said it had full body IK, and I was like, I don't really even remember.
You tricked me. You dirty Skydance Interactive tricked me.
Right? And it's because you do have like forearms and stuff in that. And like, so sometimes you just need enough to get by, and it works really, really well. But
yeah, I mean, at least give me the full forearms and stuff. You don't need the full body stuff. Gamerchick is actually saying, I think it will depend on the game. It takes a lot of assets to create full body IK. Some designers will want to utilize those extra assets in other areas of the game. Now, assets in terms of like what? In terms of power, resources, stuff like that, because there's going to be stuff around, there is more information regarding PSVR2 that we haven't even gotten into yet. We've only covered what Jim Ryan and some extra things. Jim Ryan and Hideaki Nishino have covered, but there's other stuff that we know about, and one of those things being like HDR support. HDR will be very, very interesting, and just gives more contrast, more color, more pop. And there was a couple other things as well. Okay, yeah, rendering. So that's the thing. Thank you. That actually reminded me. Talking about rendering and the way it could have an effect on rendering, there's likely going to be eye tracking here. That seems to be sort of thing. It seems just very likely. I'm not going to say it's a surefire thing, but eye tracking does seem to be a big deal because the rendering, wherever you look, is going to be rendering. It allows you to, you don't have a body here that you see, but then you look down and then there is a body there,
Yeah. Twitcher, the single player game cat, says, yeah, there are parts of my body I haven't seen in years too.
Oh, Twitcher.
Shout out to Hugh Guyver on that note with the Australian $5 donation saying, gonna watch later, so here's some pizza, money, cousin waves in the background. I actually, Hugh, I gotta send you a message, man. There was something I wanted to talk to you about, so I gotta make a mental note of that. Don't worry, it's all good. Like, Hugh, you're fired. It's not it, man. I promise.
J Meow's also asking, do you want finger tracking? Well, I think there's going to be proximity sensors, so I think that will be an option. Again, when it comes to finger tracking, guys, I think it's cool. I think the Sony was talking about, we are going to make sure that we make this the most immersive thing as possible. They are aware of everything, that they have their own research. They have research that they've gotten from other headsets. This is why this is such a big deal. And why competition is good, because it's going to keep each company honest, trying to make the best product, trying to find things that people like the most and incorporate them. And finger tracking, I think it's okay. Like for, like I said, the games matter to me, the games, the worlds and stuff. Anything interacting with more objects is going to make it better. Do you absolutely have to have it? Do I have to have it? No. But if done right, what's most important to me is just the games be interactive, be immersive as possible. And yeah,
dude. I mean, I can't think of too many games that I would want finger tracking for. Right? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's
even again like little things,
And I'm not saying, just to clarify, I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm just saying that right now, like, it's cool tech, and hopefully games that, now that it's a thing out there, games will find ways to start taking advantage of it. You give me Demo Reborn, where suddenly I'm not like pounding. I feel like a child when I play that game, the rhythm parts, because I feel like a child pounding on like an xylophone or something. I'm like, bing, 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 bing.
Right.
How much more elegant would that feel if I was going actually using my fingers playing across a keyboard or a piano?
Right. There's ways that could be used like that. Yeah, that can enhance the experience. Also stuff like reloading a gun, like grabbing a clip or something and pulling it out and then putting another one in, grabbing one from your thing, putting another one in, and like cocking the gun back and stuff. Like those little things are going to be awesome moving forward. I can definitely see the potential. But again, it has to be a small part of the bigger picture here for me. It's not going to make a game amazing if the game isn't very good, but it has finger tracking. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So another thing I want to bring up here, something to keep your eye on, the Callisto protocol, the creators of Dead Space, followed me on Twitter, Bryan. And I know that doesn't always mean much, and take it with a grain of salt, but I don't know why they followed me. But I'm very happy about it. And so I just want to tell everybody to keep an eye on the Callisto protocol. It looks very Dead Space, Alien Isolation kind of blend here. And that makes me pretty excited. But what the real thing I wanted to talk about was remasters. there's a lot of questions regarding, are PSVR 1 games going to be forward compatible with PSVR 2?
Mhm.
And I definitely see this as a yes and no kind of thing. Games like, Saints and Sinners, I could see getting remastered. And so I think there's a lot of games that maybe will get a second chance or something. There's it's pretty popular. You saw like the God of War 5K remaster. You saw the Final Fantasy 7 that they just did during the State of Play, and they're like, PS5 version remaster.
Mhm.
I think there's a good chance we see a lot of games get remasters here.
The thing that I'm most curious about when it comes to PSVR 2 and PS5 remasters is if Sony has some magical way where that requires no work on the developer's part to convert light tracking into inside-out tracking. I can't imagine that there's just some magical process that you can run a game through to convert all of that stuff and make it work. But
Lloyd in the basement.
I mean, Lloyd in the basement has a lot of switches he has not flipped. We're just waiting him to pull it on a bunch of games. But that's sort of my question is that a possibility? I know they're totally different systems, but is there a program or something that you could run these games through to convert all of that coding to a different type of coding and then require no effort on developers' part? The last thing I want to see is developers who are gone now or wouldn't have the money to do it on their own. For these games to kind of whoa.
Let's get started.
Sorry guys, I don't know where that music's coming from. This happens every so often. One second. Hold on a second.
Can be added to a simple skincare routine.
This is crazy.
Proven safe and effective to treat acne.
Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. No. Oh, I see what it is. Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. 1 second. This is actually going to be kind of funny to explain.
Ready to fight tough acne?
There. I thought I got rid of it. I don't know what's happening. This is actually really funny. It would be really funny if I could stop it. So what happened, I still had, in OBS, in a different window, I had the Twitch window up that we used to stream, State of Play. And an advertisement just started randomly playing on that, even though I don't have the Twitch window up anywhere. So I had to push pause on that. I hope that's not going to happen again. But it was an acne commercial. Sorry, everybody. Go fight tough acne.
So what you're basically saying, so this is the thing, man. I don't think we're there yet. I think at some point there will be something developed, some kind of engine, but unfortunately it's not like, hey, convert your game into Dreams and all of a sudden it works on PlayStation 5. I think something like that was designed with Dreams for people to make their own games, but I don't see there being anything just yet. Obviously they have the dev kits. They have the PSVR 2 dev kits, which are going out right now and very soon, and stuff like that. And I think that's what people are, what developers are going to have to work with right now. And I don't think there's much more than that. There's no, hey, bring your game, put it through this cheese grater, and it comes out on the other side as a PSVR 2 game.
No, for sure. I just didn't know if that was the thing that for tracking. But I really hope, with all these PlayStation 4 games getting PlayStation 5 remasters and upgrades and stuff, everyone who already bought the game is getting the upgrade for free, which is really nice. I love seeing that. I saw at least one during that State of Play said if you have PlayStation Plus, you get the upgrade for free, which I thought was an interesting take, because that's really strange to me. It's okay, you're only going to give the upgrade if you've already bought the game. You get the upgrade for free if you have Plus. I was like, that is a strange requirement, but that's hopefully we'll see all sorts of stuff like this with PSVR 1 compared to PSVR 2. Make the conversion, resell your game to a whole new audience, but also give the upgrade to all your fans from PSVR 1 for free.
Well, again, I think the difference between inside out and outside in tracking is not as huge as people think it is, because again, when you have the Quest and stuff, it's the cameras on your thing and it can see it. It just sees it better. It sees it a lot better, but if that vision is obstructed, if you turn all the lights out and the camera can't see the controller, just like how if something is blocking the camera for the PlayStation, it's the same kind of thing. So I almost feel like the majority of the work would actually be going in and redoing the menus and interacting with objects and stuff like that, redoing button layouts. That to me is going to be the brunt of the work versus like something completely developed from the ground up again. It has to follow. There has to be a sensor, and then there has to be like something that it is detecting. There has to be some sort of detection system. So unless the system drastically changes, I feel like it wouldn't be too much different. But you know, these even little differences, even things like going in and upping the resolution, as we've seen, can be a 6-month process. What some things that seem small to us can require a lot of resources and manpower to do.
I think Darkwing Chuck just corrected me about my PlayStation 5 upgrade for PlayStation Plus members. The game was Oddworld, and he said it's going to be an April Plus game. So I got the wrong message during that state of play entirely for that. So apologies for the misinformation.
Oh, I thought it was saying if you had Plus, it would be an upgrade.
That's the message I heard. But very well, trying to run a show and keep things running. Yeah. I may have heard it wrong.
It's not VR anyways. I'm not worried about it right now.
Yeah, for sure. But still, you know, like I think that would be a new precedent set by a company if they said that. And so that's why I just wanted to clarify, because that seems like a strange precedent to set. Yeah. So PlayStation VR2, man, it's real.
Dude, it's happening. It's real. It's happening. It's likely coming out within the year. And in the meantime, they've got a bunch of stuff for us. You know, we have to expect some other games, different major updates to games. It's exciting times, man. And I really can't wait to see. We're getting closer and closer to this, getting a VR experience as well as getting the Sony PlayStation gaming experience melded together. And there are really awesome things ahead, I believe. I think this is wild, man. This is going to be crazy. There's so many possibilities. Like I said, movie theaters, new UI, you know, PS5 games, maybe potential upgrades, remasters and stuff from PSVR 1 days into PSVR 2. And yeah, there's so many possibilities here. It's ridiculous.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, then let's, do you think, is it time to move on? We're gonna stop talking about the PlayStation VR 2.
I don't really want to. Can we? Is there anything else we can squeeze out of this? Like, you know,
only that they're gonna keep releasing news, and like, man, I feel like every single time they reveal anything, hey, Dave's back.
What's up?
I feel like every single time they reveal anything about it is going to be like another cause for celebration. It's like, oh, you know, when they say, oh, the screens are going to be 4K, you know, this is the degrees of the field of vision or field of view. Like each one of these things that they kind of like, you know, drip feed us over the course of the next year is going to be like, holy shit, that's so amazing. We know a little bit more about this thing that we're going to be playing. And I think a lot of people said about, as far as the price is concerned, people are like, oh, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to buy it, you know, $500, $600. Because the fact is, even though I would not be happy with a $500 or $600 price tag, I would still buy it and be like, well, this is probably the only headset I'm going to need for the next 4 or 5 years, right? I'm not going to be looking to replace it in, you know, 18 months or something.
I don't think 500 or 600 is going to happen. I mean, I know that in the past was the thing, but here's the deal. Like, PSVR came out and you had to buy an old camera. You had to buy old controllers that weren't always in stock, you know, to do the move controllers and stuff. And like, it just wasn't really already a package that was cheap when it came out. But I feel like if this has inside out tracking, that kills the camera cost right out the bat. That's one less thing you got to buy. And like, obviously the controllers will be packaged in as part of the cost of the unit instead of being this $100 pack you got to go buy separately once you buy the thing. And so I feel like there's going to be good bundles for like less than 500. I could be crazy, but I feel like less than 500 might be reasonable just because, I mean, they're selling PS5s at a slight loss, is what I've heard, and I think they can afford to do that with PSVRs as well, just to get people into the ecosystem. Because the attach rate is pretty good with VR games, I think. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be willing to do 500 at the highest.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised either. But it'll be. I mean, I guess it all depends, man. I guess, right? It depends on what these specs are, and it depends on when it actually comes out. All of these things matter.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, they've got, like you said, like a whole year's worth of drip feed PlayStation blog content that will make everybody crazy. So that's good. I mean, they can just take a month or two, say, hey, here's the controllers. Take another month or two, hey, here's the inside-out tracking. Another month or two, hey, here's one of the games we're going to release for this thing.
Right.
Just kind of leak it out like that. And I think, I mean, it's kind of a win-win. There's no way this can go wrong for Sony.
I mean, let's hope not.
Right? I'm just saying. I think no. I mean, like really, like in terms of the way that their marketing can be rolled out from here on out. Like anything they do, they've at least given us the door opening, and now we're just waiting for what's on the other side of it.
Oh man, yes, so
Man.
many things, Dave.
Right.
So many things.
I can't wait to see commercials for this thing.
I can't wait to see Saints and Sinners 2, where I have a special cameo and voiceover, and brass knuckles. It's gonna be amazing. And unicorns and dragons in Saints and Sinners 2. You guys,
Can we get a
you
roller
heard
coaster?
it here first.
I want a roller coaster in Saints and
Oh.
Sinners. I want a whole amusement
Like
park.
a zombie dragon? You want a zombie dragon?
Saints and
Yes.
Sinners 2 should take place in an amusement park. Let's bring Illbleed back.
Oh, Illbleed, good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, but first, like I said, I still want a bunch of PS5 patches in the meantime. This what Hello Games did for No Man's Sky was huge for me. Huge. I still played the hell out of that game on PS4. But man, on PS5, it is like this is the experience I wanted. Just being able to explore, and it looks good and stuff. Not every game needs it. Some games look fine. Blood and Truth, they put the Blood and Truth is part of one of the hints to me why the PSVR2 is going to be 4K, because they upscaled their resolution in Blood and Truth to 4K, and the headset can't even do it yet. And I'm like, well, at least it shows that it's possible, so why not? It's like Jim Ryan said, keyword here.
Well, I mean,
why not?
I mean, downscaling is a thing. Like you can, or not downscaling, what do they call it?
Super
Basically,
sampling.
yeah, super sampling. When you render it at a higher thing and then you stream the best version of that to whatever it can support. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if they're waiting for, or if they're moving towards a 4K kind of thing, especially because, like, there's a year before this comes out, most likely. Oculus already has really high quality screens. I'm not sure if they're 4K. I don't want to say they're 4K 100%. And people did complain about the Quest 2 having less brighter blacks or less clear blacks.
Right, the OLED screen. I don't think they're
OLED.
going to go with OLED again, though, because it's just so expensive. But they could.
Yeah, I mean, and I really hope that they bring back, and this is really silly, but I hope they bring back 3D Blu-ray stuff, because that was fun, but a little blurry,
Yeah.
I guess. It didn't ever... It was kind of fuzzy. You couldn't choose the theater you were in. You couldn't do anything like that. But if they bring that back with PSVR 2, that'd be a good way, invite some friends into the room, watch something. I doubt they'll let us do that, but one can dream, I suppose.
Speaking of dreams,
yes.
I saw a Shun Muso post about Dreams having a 10-year plan, and
Right.
and so that means we're probably going to be able to make PSVR 2 games.
Oh, absolutely.
How
I'm sure.
insane
Yeah.
is that? Like, I mean, just to carry Dreams
If
along
it
with
gets
us,
a
man.
proper PS5 patch for Dreams
Oh.
would be, oh my god.
It's
But
totally certain.
from what I've been following, though, their VR work is done for now. Their focus is multiplayer and just trying to build that community, keep building that community and stuff, which I think is a healthy focus. I think you want to focus on things that are going to give the game more longevity. And they gave us a lot with what the PSVR support can do. But yeah, you have to expect at some point they're not nowhere near done. And again, I still believe that's a revolutionary tool, and we'll definitely see Dreams is going to be better and better every single year, and that's the way it's going to be. Every single year, it's just going to be a bigger, better game, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, any closing thoughts? You missed a good chunk of the
so catch me up. We were just talking about PSVR2, basically.
Every single thing we can do PSVR2. What like we expect with
you
games.
You guys already talked about finger tracking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Okay. Because Callisto there is that you saw that prototype.
3.
You saw that prototype that they had with the weird gray thing, where they were doing finger tracking, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember? And I think say that you had like so the Knuckles controls had that little ring around you. And so you can kind of hold it like this and just do like that pretty easily. That would work pretty well. And I think why not steal it? You know, plenty of people stole from them with the Halo design of the headset. I think they even sued Lenovo or something over it.
Right.
So like, you know, I think they can take a little bit from other people too.
I really hope with the design that it does do like the index knuckle style, if I've got that correct, where it actually kind of goes over your knuckles. With the Quest, it's got this thing on top, and anytime you're trying to do something like let's say reload a gun or something, it's like those big things sticking out like hit each other, and I'm not a big fan of that when I've tested that out. You know, when it comes to the Move controllers, obviously the tracking and stuff is not as good, but it's like when you want to get your hands closer, you can. And instead of like feeling some resistance or potentially breaking the thing. So I am hoping that the tracking bar or whatever it's going to be called goes around the back of the hand versus the top of the controller.
You know, Virtual Strangers in the chat. What up, dude?
What up, Wes?
Or dudes. Shout out to both.
Two guys sharing a computer.
both of the strangers. He said something. He said, "Imagine the aim controller, and imagine aim V2 or 2.0 controller for PlayStation VR 2." And I gotta say, man, like, I honestly think that if there's gonna be like an aim controller for PlayStation VR 2, the controllers, you know, if they give us everything we want and they've already got all these features in it, then like, what's the point of like buying another controller? I feel like the aim V2 would be more of a sharpshooter attachment, right? Where it's like a little bit of tech in there, but like basically it's a place where you like shove both of your controllers into, and then you've already got both of your analog sticks, you've already got your adaptive triggers, but you've combined it into this thing that all sort of works together and feels good in your hands like the aim controller does. I say you don't want to like, you know, try to convince your user base to have to buy another controller. It didn't work that well, I think, during this generation. So many people are like, I don't have an aim controller. Still don't have an aim controller and then they're like, oh, well, there's only like 3 games I want to play with it. And I'm like, I understand that. Like, you don't want to buy a $60, $70 peripheral for maybe 3 games. You know, some people don't have Move controllers.
The thing that Sony kind of missed the boat on and Oculus sort of proved is that you can cover basically everything you need to with a pair of inside-out tracked controllers that have sticks on them. Because if you put them like this, that's an aim controller, essentially. Because the issue with that on PSVR is that the occlusion, you know, the camera angle has to be just right so that your first controller doesn't block the second controller. Whereas with inside-out tracking, that's not even a concern. So I think that, like, you can do gamepad-oriented games. Like, you could do an Astrobot because it's got the sticks, it's got the buttons, it's got the triggers, it's got everything you need to play like a gamepad-style game. But then also it can be a gun, or it can be 2 hands. And so really there would be no need to buy anything extra, except for that stuff that people like to buy, like add-ons, like a gun stock that's like PVC, you know, 3D printed or something like that, like PSVR guys. Like, yeah. Do you think they'll make an AIM 2? You guys think they'll make an AIM 2? I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Just package the controllers with the thing. No muss, no fuss. Everybody's got what they need. That's the whole package right there. It'd be a lot easier than what they got now.
I think the AIM controller was a magnificent solution when you have only the DualShock and Move controllers to work with. I think it was a great solution to that. But I think you just, like Bryan has always said, you have the controllers, you can do stuff plenty with those and more interaction with the guns, more different things that way. I don't expect an AIM 2 because you don't need it. I think where they're going to expand, I think they are going to I think they're going to expand using haptics. Maybe release their own haptic vest, something like that. That's a little bit more affordable than
I
some of
think
these
they
like
might sponsor
$500 one.
They might sponsor a third-party one, but I can't see
Right.
Sony officially releasing their own haptic
Right.
vest. They might have a Sony logo on, like, officially
Right,
licensed
Thrustmaster, like
that kind of
there-
thing. Yeah,
there's
let
I hear a lot
somebody
about
else
these
do it.
haptics, but those things are anywhere from like $500 to $1,000. So they're not going to be worried about that as a like main staple that they have to do. But I think that's the way that we're going to see them expand, is maybe release a new racing wheel, like you said earlier. Maybe release things that make sense, things that you don't have currently that can add more immersion. And I definitely feel like more haptics, more devices such as that will be potentially something we'll see well before another AIM controller.
Yeah, maybe we'll get like a Mad Catz haptic vest or something. Do they still exist? Is that a still
I think they
company?
do. Yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while.
I got the Fallout 4 VR trailer playing in the corner just to try to will it into existence.
Well, I mean, it runs like shit on PCs, but maybe on PS5 it'll be optimized and we can play it. I mean, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, Skyrim ran great on PlayStation 4 and, beautiful on the Pro. So it's like, I don't know, on
It's
the
a
PlayStation
much
5.
older game, though, than... I mean, Fallout 4 is a much newer game.
Yeah,
Skyrim.
but then going that was playing on the PlayStation 4 into playing on a PlayStation 5. Let's will it into existence. Let's get it here. Make it happen. Yeah,
Channel your third eye positive energy, everybody in the chat.
let's make it happen.
Oh, I think I still have this thing that says positive vibes only here that I ripped out from the
Yes.
the debate show.
People were worried, man. People were worried that we were we were attacking
not
each other.
friends
What do you mean,
anymore,
people? I was worried.
Well,
It's Brian.
but
Brian
here's the
thought,
other thing.
dude, we fooled him. We got him, Dave. We got him.
At the end of the show, I was like,
this
I
is all a
was
big,
like,
this
you
is all
guys
a big
okay? And
gag,
they're like,
guys.
of course.
We
Yeah.
love each other. No,
Yeah.
but it's funny to me because in this show, people have even said like, "Man, I wish AJ and Dave were fighting right now." And it's like, okay, fine.
I did say
There's
I
nothing
wanted
fight
to do
about
it. I wanted to do a top 25 games sale debate, games on sale debate, where we each three brought our 25 games on sale and then put them up against each other and then decided on a list. Who's down? Who's ready? Let's do this. I can do this. Anything else? Anything else you guys want us to discuss regarding PSVR 2 before we move on? And that goes for the chat as well.
No, let's get Yupitergrad out of the way.
Well-
or whatever. Or do we have other stuff before that?
We do have more news articles as well.
Okay. Yeah, let's keep moving. I mean, everything at this point is speculation, but there's a lot of
Not everything.
positive. Well, there's a lot of positive stuff that they've given us. So I guess not all speculation. But
Right.
some things they talk about next gen controllers and all this kind of shit. So like
Yeah.
we know they're doing the
Also,
right
the
thing.
3D audio, the immersive audio.
Well, and the haptics and the using the DualSense technology, like that's what my main thing I've been saying forever is like just put that stuff in the VR controllers. Yeah, I'm sure you talked about that already for like 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, Hitman's definitely one that I expect to see a sequel to, or a remaster of, with the new controllers as well.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
I think they might do a thing, and imagine like no pop in and actually enhanced graphics, maybe 4K Hitman, guys. Anybody with next gen controllers? Good God!
I might just
talk
spend
about
all day
immersion.
in Dubai, man, or just go to Miami for an afternoon, hang out.
Like, good
Just
Lord.
pop into a flamingo suit and just kind of cruise. an
Before we move
day.
on, I'm definitely just trying to make sure we didn't miss any more questions regarding PSVR 2, what we think about certain things. I'm so excited, you guys. This is just amazing, and I'm so thankful.
It feels like a dream to a certain extent. Like
Yeah.
I woke up that day and it felt like a dream, and I feel like the dream just kind of hasn't ended yet. Like I was like, this is sort of too good to be true. Like from everything we'd heard, it was happening. But in my head, I was like, we're not going to hear about this for another 6 months minimum. And then for them to just be like, here you go, end of February. It's like, all right, dude, thank you so much. What a great surprise.
And I mean, behind the scenes, a little inside baseball here. Bryan called me at like 9 a.m, which, I hope my boss isn't watching, but I like to sleep in a little bit. I don't know. And I was like, you're fucking lucky I'm awake, man. What do you want? What do you want at 9 a.m, damn it? He's like, PSVR 2 just got announced. And I was like, awake immediately. Like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
I was like,
unfortunately, I had to work a bunch that day, but like, Yeah, that's just like out of nowhere, and then I wish that it had been the 1-2 punch I was thinking with the state of play, because it seemed like such a good opportunity to finally say, hey guys, there are PSVR2 games in development. Here's at least one glimpse of one of those games, which is fine, whatever, they didn't do that. But they're going to have to at some point, and I cannot wait.
Absolutely, man. All right, so time to get on with the news, man. But absolutely amazing week. It's happening, you guys. Couldn't be more excited. So many possibilities, and cannot wait. We will be there the whole step of the way with you guys covering this stuff. So today, Zen Studios, and we got to give a big shout out to Gilman.
Hell yeah.
Who are always chilling in the voice chat in the Discord, gave us a tip saying that he had noticed that Pinball Zen Studios was giving tips about a potential new VR content release, and boy, oh boy, did they! Because Star Wars Pinball VR was announced. And it's a big one. This doesn't seem like an add-on.
This is exciting stuff.
Doesn't seem like an add-on to the current FXVR2. This looks like an actual standalone game.
Well, so I'll tell you, on Switch, I have Star Wars Pinball as a standalone game. That is how they sell it already in flat versions. But it looks like there's new tables in this one. The Mandalorian table I've never seen before. They didn't even show much of it. They sort of teased it in the corner. Like, there's a Baby Yoda here, and you see the logo of the Mandalorian, like, up on the table. But they didn't really go in depth on that one, I think, because it's kind of like a surprise. Ooh, new table. Some people are going to really geek out about that customizable Star Wars
collection
room that you have. It's like your own personal Star Wars museum. Looks like there's unlockable stuff for completing certain things in the game, which will probably draw a lot of people to keep playing it, because I want the weird tall lady from that one movie's weird stormtrooper helmet, whatever. I don't know. It looks like a great package. Like, I'm excited. April, right? April?
End of April, 29th?
Yes.
Yeah. And $25, I think they said too, right?
$25.
Depending on how many, I'm guessing 3 tables is what you
Nope,
get for $25.
it's more. Dude, it's more.
4 or 5 or what?
It's episode 4, 5, 6, The Mandalorian, something Masters, and also
Terrascasi? Masters of Terrascasi. If anybody in the chat remembers Masters of Terrascasi, I'll give you $5.
Not even I could defend that game.
Brian probably has it on disc, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
I do.
Yeah,
also, Rogue One, which is like probably my favorite Star Wars movie. Don't throw shit at me, please.
I wonder if they'll sell additional ones, because they have a ton of Star Wars.
8 tables.
8 tables. I thought it was 9. Okay. That is a ton of tables. Their previous pricing model has been kind of all over the place. And so to get 8
9 tables. Sorry.
It was 9. I thought they said 9.
8 tables. 8 tables is the original game.
Okay. So 9 tables for $25 is a pretty decent deal.
That's a steal.
Yeah. And I'm really surprised. I am surprised that this isn't, Pinball FX2 VR expansion. But it is cool, man, because I wasn't a huge fan of the, like, I guess you'd call it the UI, the place where you hang out and like sort of set up your tables. You could only have, you could buy all these tables, but you couldn't just line them up like a pinball arcade. You couldn't just be like, I'm just going to walk through my cool arcade room, right? You could only pick 3. And so
you'd rotate them out. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like that. And you couldn't just walk around and like, hang out in that room. You just like kind of teleported around the place.
Well, this room looks huge in terms of like, maybe they have all the tables spread out, which would be awesome because they come with the game. And I think that's part of why, like, the default game just came with 3 tables, right? And that's all the space you had. So you bought more and you'd switch them out. With this one, it looks like you've got that whole thing, but it might be kind of Iron Man style where you go, node-based teleport. It didn't look like the guy was just like walking around the room and stuff. So I think, you go to this pedestal where your little stormtrooper thing is and you replace that. But yeah, it looks really cool. I'm really excited about this. And the fact they're giving away that many tables for $25 is kind of almost unlike Zen Studios.
Yeah.
If it's really 8 tables, like people were saying.
9.
Like
Yeah,
included
yes,
for 25.
yes.
That's crazy.
9
I bought it on
tables.
Twitch, and I think I got like
Look,
4 tables for
9
$25.
tables. Actually, there's little mini games in each pinball table too.
Oh, that are full VR, like you're fighting Vader with the lightsaber.
Yeah, sort of.
They're
Like
surrounding
it's
you,
it's
at least,
mostly
yeah.
still like button prompts and stuff. Quick time events.
You're not swinging a lightsaber. I understand.
You're not swinging.
You're hitting
yet.
R2 and L2.
But there still is the mini game stuff, which was a really cool part. For those who don't know, what made Pinball FX VR2 so cool is that it is 360 VR. You're playing this table, but then like there's stuff like flying around you and all this stuff that's like animating. Like if you're playing the Back to the Future table, there's a DeLorean like flying around you and stuff. And visually, it is really fun. On top of pinball just being pretty awesome. But
I love the Jaws table too because like he's circling under your feet and you like come out of the water and like
it's
fight.
So cool.
Sometimes it's really
so
nice.
Cool.
And I feel like with Star Wars,
Yeah,
that's going to be really cool. Like you'll probably have TIE fighters, X-wings flying past you, shooting at stuff.
Yeah.
It could be really, really cool.
Super dope.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
But just to sum it up, 9 tables. They call it the cave, the something cave, not the man cave, but some kind of game cave, something like that.
Collector's cave or something like that.
Yeah. And so it's like a whole place to walk around, collect stuff. There's collectibles in the game to get. There's mini games. So there's a lot of content that looks like here. This is pretty badass, man. I'm pretty excited about this.
Tiffany Gamerchick says, if there are leaderboards for this pinball game, I will destroy all your scores.
Of course.
Every Zen Studios game has leaderboards. Absolutely. That is not even a question. They will have online leaderboards.
All right, guys, time out real quick here. Time out real quick. Just 3 things we need to take care of. 1.
Yes.
Red Rover, the effing Mars Game Cat. Wow. With the $2 tip says, hit that like button, you crazy cats. Yeah. What's going on, guys? Hit the like button.
Do it.
Also, make sure you subscribe. And I don't know, watch all of our other videos too. Thank you so much for the tip. Also, Scott Jessico, PSN, Harry Fellow, PSVR Game Cat for life with the $5 donation says, hi, gentlemen. Hi.
Sorry, if he gets it for 2, then he gets it for 5. So sorry.
Sure, makes sense. Hi, Game Cats. Sending you a pizza slice from the Frontline Watch when I get in PSVR2. Can't wait. Oh, yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate the tips helping keep the lights on around here. But also, there was one other thing. I know I'm just going to sidetrack the pinball conversation for a second here, but Loyal Game Cat J Meow sent me a very important message here regarding something we already talked about. The news just broke. PlayStation confirms Japan studio will be reorganized. Now, we talked just a little bit about this, talking about how a Asobi team will still be a thing. But let me just quickly read you this article on IGN by Matt T.M. Kim. SIE has confirmed that PlayStation Studios' Japan studio will be reorganized following reports that the game development at the first-party developer will be scaled back. In a statement to IGN, Sony announced that Japan Studio will be recentered around Team Asobi, the development unit behind Astro's Playroom. Localization, IP management, and external production will also be concentrated within the Global Functions wing of PlayStation Studios. Sony launched PlayStation Studios as a new umbrella brand that houses the game's first-party game developers, including Sony Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, blah, 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 blah. And the quote, of course, is the quote from Japan Studio is, in an effort to further strengthen business operations, SIE can confirm that PlayStation Studios' Japan Studio will now be reorganized in a new organization on April 1st. The team will be recentered around Team Asobi, the creative team behind Astro's Playroom, allowing the team to focus on a single vision and build on the popularity of Astro's Playroom.
Okay, so we're just getting Astrobot games. That's fine. I don't mind. I'll take more Astrobot games.
So you're basically telling me what I said earlier, but you're now taking the credit away from me and giving it to the guy at IGN.
It's real proof.
We're telling you,
reading a thing.
We're telling you that you are psychic, and they took the words right out of your mouth, AJ. It must have been while they were kissing you.
Did you guys also? I got an email that I didn't notice until during the stream. And I'm going to sidetrack real quick too, unless this is already on the run of show and I missed it. I got an email about the Persistence having a PS5 version coming out. Is that on the run of show?
No, because it's not. Okay. It's not a VR related thing.
We don't know yet.
We do because they actually said it.
But it won't have a PS5 update that will increase the game's performance on PS4, like for VR, or no? They're just
Correct.
not doing that at all?
It's not for VR yet, but they're not
got
ruling it
excited.
out as well, though. We'll
Right.
stay a little excited because
I
they
got
didn't completely
excited.
roll it out either. But
Another-
it has
Okay, well,
nothing
I'm
to
just-
do.
It just
with
would
the
be
PS5.
cool. It would be cool.
Another game. Yes.
What you were going to say, Brian?
Another game that would be amazing with PlayStation 5 upgraded visuals, and of course, get your hands in there and be able to use your hands in the game rather than DualShock. Again, opening it up to a much wider audience, people that like refuse to play games that are DualShock only. That's all. That's all I was gonna say.
Look, yeah, I'm more worried. I want games that have graphical issues and things on PS5. Persistence looks amazing. Looks amazing on PS5. Doesn't have any resolution, low resolution, any pop in. There's nothing you can really do to really enhance it. It would just be so slight. So I'm more concerned about a PSVR2 version. I think that's something we could maybe look forward to in the future. Hopefully, but who knows. $4.99 from J Meow once again. Rouse says Sony has always wanted their own Mario. Astro is their best chance of that, and they're going all out for it. I agree to some degree. I don't think personally. Don't hate me for this. Let me say one last thing about the Star Wars before we move on to. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie, but Empire Strikes Back might be my favorite Star Wars movie. I do consider objectively as possible Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie, but my favorite is kind of Rogue One too.
What's the one with Jean-Luc Picard? That's my favorite.
That's the wrong Star show. But anyways, in regards to what he's saying with this, I think the Astro's Playroom was an amazing idea, a great pack-in title with the PS5s. I don't think they could be successful I don't think they'd blow it out of the park making a standalone Astro game, not VR, like a follow-up to that with a full game. I just don't see it, man. I think Astro's Playroom, as amazing as it was, it got away with it being on a new device, being the new look at the DualSense controllers, and being on PS5 and being free and being packed with nostalgia. A VR game, however, to demonstrate especially new controllers or a party game, something like that, I think has a big future if they decide to go that way. And I think they're going to do something along those lines.
If we get a whole studio that's devoted only to making Astro games, then I want to see Astro Golf in VR. I want to see Astro Kart Racing.
Astro Kart
Right.
Racing.
All this in one game, though. I want
Astro
all
Team
this
Racing,
in
maybe.
one. I want all this under one game.
I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need the sports champions of VR here. I want full-fledged, man. Like, we still haven't gotten that full-fledged kart racer. Not really. And I'm not even sure if Dash Dash is going to deliver on the promise of there's something like a crash, like
so good.
But a Crash Team compared to something like
really
Crash
good,
Team
though.
Racing. Like, think of
like
how
a full adventure mode. And stuff.
full adventure mode. Like, there's so many games that
Well, it's not going to have that. But
that's what I'm
here's
saying.
What I'll say.
It's like, but if
I
Sony
bought Crash
developed
Team
it,
Racing. I bought Crash Team Racing, and I've spent way more time in Dash Dash.
okay,
That's
I
all
think
I'm
you just.
saying.
I think
love
you just
Dash
blew
Dash.
people's minds, Brian. Everyone loves the idea of Astro's Golf, and
Right.
I'd rather
Astros
personally have
tennis.
it.
I mean, there's pretty much take anything that Super Astrobot RPG, like anything
That's
that
what I'm saying.
replace Mario with Astro in every single game you
Yeah,
can think
right.
of. Right?
Super
I still
Astro
think I still
RPG.
I
Super
still think it
Astrobot
needs to be
Sunshine. Come on.
I like that idea.
I still think it
a lot.
needs to be more of a social environment focused kind of game, like something that you can have a room full of people and be like, oh, look at this, like Astro Bowling, Astro Kart, Astro Golf, and then but then eventually we gotta expect something like Everybody's Golf is VR2 or something is gonna come out and blow it out of the park, blow it out of the water. But I think you could really get away with having like an Astrobot minigame focused style thing that showcases, that's fun, that's social, and showcases the next VR.
When you mention Everybody's Golf, wasn't that Japan Studio? I mean, Clap Hands and Japan Studio.
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
Together.
I think you're
Japan
right.
Studio,
Yeah.
again, that logo
was involved
everywhere. They had their
I
hands in
understand.
everything.
But they were involved in that. So I wonder if
Right.
going forward, maybe the Asobi team will have a little more access to them or something, and they'll be able to get involved in something like, Everybody's Golf 2 multiplayer. Super fun.
Yeah, 100%. I want Astrobot to be my caddy in Everybody's Golf too.
That would be nice, unless he's trying to take you out on a date.
I don't know, man. I find
all
that
the
way
caddies-
better than what happened in,
I don't know, man.
Everybody's Golf 1.
Like, I don't know. I bought the Goth Lady DLC, and I went on dates with the Goth Lady, and that's better than Astrobot.
I'm so
me
upset
personally, I
I'm
don't know.
so upset that I paid for DLC for that game.
I did too. I
Ugh.
felt stupid, but it was an excuse to title a stream Everybody's Goth VR, which is okay. I don't mind that.
You
AJ's ready to move on.
live. You do live for
AJ's ready to
interesting
move on.
stream names. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
2 plungers, 1 comrade. That was my name last night.
I love
I
that.
saw that one.
I turned my camera off because I was looking for this thing, which apparently I lost within like 2 seconds of owning it, but I found it again. So,
Excellent.
All right, so moving on, we have, and I'm totally down for some more. PSVR2 combo that might pop up. That was fun.
Always happy.
Windlands 2 developers have basically come out of the woodwork, and they have said that basically their PSVR game, Windlands 2, I mean, is back in development for PSVR or coming soon or something
soon.
like that.
They said coming soon.
Yep.
They said coming soon.
It's coming soon.
I mean,
and I wonder if
and they
they're
came
coming
out of the
soon in
woodwork. They came out of the woodwork back in December. Don't forget, on the PSVR
Well,
World Show that none of you guys watched.
They
Okay.
came out of the woodwork again right after Yupitergrad released. Crazy, you know.
I mean, it does make sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'll say is that I think this could be something similar to when Jeff Minter was like, "Hey guys, you know, Moose Life's coming soon. Like, why not announce it like pretty close to when you know that it's going through soon?" So like we could see this in the next few weeks. I think I wouldn't be surprised
That would be so nice.
if we saw it very soon.
That'd be so nice. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah. I'll be excited to check this out when it drops. This is a game that, like, back in 2018, I had heard rumors about they are waiting for PSVR 2, and now I see them saying, "Oh, the day PSVR 2 is announced." I'm starting to see them pop up again and say, "No, it's in development." Blah blah blah. So I was like, immediately, my mind was going to. Yeah, because they're going to bring it to PSVR 2, like we had originally heard back in 2018, and haven't heard anything from them since then. So I was thinking more of a PSVR 2 launch title. But
well, didn't they reply to one of your tweets or something with sort of a cryptic? Or I saw somebody who had commented
Bryan.
on one of their. Was it Bryan? Okay, yeah, one of you guys. AJ, I figure you're the Twitter guy more often, but so
Brian's trying to. He's brought me some healthy competition with Twitter.
Yeah,
AJ's got nothing on me.
No, but I saw that they actually did respond to you with some sort of like hard to interpret kind of winky.
Well, I said when they
basically
showed that animated GIF, and it was like Windlands footage, right, with the PSVR 1 headset on. I was like, and they said what's coming soon. I was like, well, that destroys my PSVR 2 theory, and they kind of like made this like you said, cryptic thing, and and I think the bottom of the meme said no comment. So like. Again, one of the many games that will probably sell okay on PSVR 1, but why not bring it to PSVR 2, right? Have an upgrade ready for launch.
I hope what they mean is that, it's going to be cross-platform, and like you'll have both. And, maybe even you can play on your PSVR 2 with people who have it on PSVR 1, because that'd be a nice thing. And that's something we need to start thinking about, too, like if there are going to be cross-platform games and how that works with multiplayer and all that. Because... I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, right? Because like not everybody's going to have a PSVR 2 day one.
Well, something that we don't talk about. You're
going to want to play with your friends,
Yeah, something that because of the small install base of PlayStation VR 1. Sometimes you get a multiplayer game going. It's not like you can just jump right into a lobby and play. But what Sony is actually kind of doing here, like unintentionally, I think, by keeping PlayStation VR 1 going on PS4 and also compatible on PS5, and then launching this new headset and having multiplayer games. And if you're able to play them cross-platform, they're sort of creating their own ecosystem of players, right? They're like increasing the player base, and so. If something like this, which obviously I think it's 3-player multiplayer, maybe it's 4-player, I forget what it is. but potentially, you know, when this game comes out, you'll be able to just jump in and play with PSVR1 players too, without having to like get into our Discord, which you should be joining anyway, and trying to get a game together. So I think that's cool, man. To have like the PSVR ecosystem kind of expand.
I mean, like, so this is not really an apt comparison, but you know, I can play Walkabout Mini Golf with somebody on a Quest 1 or a Quest 2.
That's a perfect comparison.
It's essentially the same experience. And so certain games like that, like I could easily see, you know, you don't really need the stick or the higher resolution for a game like that. But if you happen to have a PSVR 2 and your friend happen to has PSVR 1, like why not let people play together? And I think that seems like a no-brainer to me. There will, of course, be games that just straight up require a PSVR 2, I think.
Oh, no, 100%.
Unless, I mean, this is a crazy thought, but do you think there's any chance they won't do this?
No.
Some kind of adapter that would allow you to use the PSVR 2 controllers with the PSVR 1 in some way. I mean, not have to buy a new headset, and you could settle for the decreased resolution and the lower tracking. I don't think that'll happen.
I think there's a part of me that goes, well, maybe they could make it back the actual headset PSVR 2 and the new controllers backwards compatible with PlayStation VR 1, and so you plug that into your PlayStation 4, and suddenly you have all these different capabilities. Because really, it is just, you know, a very cool screen on your face with some advanced features and some, you know, tracked controllers. So I don't see why that couldn't be a thing, other than they want to focus on the PlayStation 5, and you know, allow all these games to, you know, we've talked so much about how it's a little bit confusing, I think, for some consumers to be like, hey, we're gonna do. This is what PSVR 1 is, and this is where you can play it, and these are the games, and blah blah blah, and then here's PSVR 2, and then here are the games that are compatible with this. Yeah. It's like they've kind of meshed that, now allowing PlayStation VR 1 to be played on PlayStation 5. They've kind of like blurred the line of like which headset does which. And I know that for people who watch the channel and for people like us who are here and, you know, keep a close eye on PSVR, that's not complicated at all. But there are people who just like casually play and like you just buy in a game and be like, what do you mean I can't play this on the headset that I have now? I don't, you know. So I don't know.
I'm sure they don't want to create any confusion there for the consumers of like, oh, I bought this because their refund policy sucks. So like, imagine how mad you'd be if you bought something you can't play and they just won't refund it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so Windlands.
I paused.
Windlands.
I missed that entire conversation, but I will go back and see what you guys think. And speaking of coming out of the woodwork, Loco Dojo posted today and said, like, retweet, follow. We have some exciting VR news coming soon. Don't miss it. This is a party game, very similar to almost like a Mario Party inspired VR game, full of mini games and stuff. I know a bunch of the cats were playing this before. I checked in with you guys
for a long time, right?
Yes. For the most part, yes. So I am definitely expecting some kind of PSVR 1, PSVR 2 announcement on this game. I checked in with them early 2020, I think it was, or like spring 2020, a year ago. And they said, yes, we are still working on it. We ran into some issues and caused us a major setback. So they said nothing to announce at this time, but we will let you guys know. So I think we can expect maybe a VR version, a PSVR version, I should say, an update on that. But I'm also kind of thinking there's going to be some significant update to the game as well. It's not going to be the exact same game that you guys are accustomed to. I feel like this is going to have some major new things as part of it as well. Nice. I'm so excited for this game. So excited for this.
I am too. I'm like a Mario Party style VR game. I'm down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Social games.
Although I'm just sad it's not Astrobot Party would have been way better.
I know. Now you got me hyped for that.
Yep. One day, it's coming. But I do like seeing more games like this. I hope we get Poker Stars soon. It's weird because I do see a lot more of these social games popping up on Quest. And unfortunately, that's like where I end up spending time because some people in our community have Quests, and that's like
fits your play style more.
Well, yeah, and if I want to hop into something social and simple and stuff, it's there. And I think that we could easily have all these games on PSVR. I just want to see more of them. So there's like a good reason for our community
Options.
to get together on PSVR instead of Quest. You know,
For sure.
It's not like I love being on Quest instead of PSVR. I got to charge the thing every 2 hours. It sucks. Like, it's not cool.
I've got an update as far as PokerStars is concerned.
Oh,
Really?
do you?
Well,
sir?
I mean, just now I was like, well, let's check on the status. And so for the last month, right? It was supposed to come out, or according to the PlayStation Store
January
listing,
28th.
January
right?
28th, and we're coming up on a month of that listing being accessible, but just being able to add it to your wish list, and that's the extent of it. You can't buy it or download it. And I've been checking literally every 3 or 4 hours, every single day for the last month, trying to.
You guys are crazy.
And I just clicked on it now, and it popped up, and then disappeared and said unable to find page. It may be unavailable for the address may be incorrect. But that's good. Because for the last month, it had the release date of January 28th on it, which means
Right.
you got to figure
doing
that they're
something with it.
preparing a new
doing
listing,
something.
an official
Yeah.
listing for the PlayStation Store. I bet we see this thing next week, which I've been saying by
I
the
hope
way
so. I
for
really
a
hope
month
so.
now.
Totally, Braxton B. Braxton B says he said the P word. It's as powerful as the G word. I couldn't agree more, man.
Poker stars.
I keep hearing like you guys sound like all of the people that kept asking me when is Gorn, when is Saints and Sinners coming out. You guys sound like that now to me. Like I'm so sick of hearing Poker Stars because I'm like, I don't care.
Listen,
Like when it comes out, it comes out. But I'm so tired of
AJ,
hearing about it.
What you don't understand is that Poker Stars kicks ass, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I do.
Everybody's
understand.
gonna love playing Poker
Yeah,
Stars.
no, I'm excited for it. I'm
Right.
excited for it. But hearing every single day when is Poker Stars coming out is making me go freaking cross-eyed, and I'm tired of it.
But
Well,
it's a
nobody
totally
asks
different
me
story,
questions,
though.
so I don't mind. But I'm playing Poker Stars every few days, and I can tell you it's pretty goddamn good.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a different story though, because when Gorn was announced, and then like it took a year for that game to come out. Like they kept like delays and like long stretches of time where they wouldn't update us. This actually has never been announced. PokerStars has not been announced for PlayStation VR yet. We got the live trophy. We get trophies that are live on whatever.
Which is a huge sign. That's a big sign.
It's right, which means it's definitely coming. And then we get a store listing, but again, it was never officially announced. Like the developers or publishers never said, "Hey guys, just want to let you know." It showed up randomly and then it disappeared, right? And then the trophies went live and were like crazy.
Guys, I hate to derail this conversation, but Gary Smith has just told me that it's 69 days until Resident Evil 8. Just everybody should kind of take a moment to reflect on that. Nice. Anyway, let's continue.
That's it. Anyway, PokerStars. Yeah, no, PokerStars is not actual money though. It's just fake money.
There's no real money. You spend money to get like cosmetics and consumable items like cigars and like fun little toys to play with, but you don't have to spend any money at all. Like you really can get it for free. I would suggest if they have the same thing, there's like a $5 pack that gets you a bunch of tokens, a bunch of like intro stuff, and that one's worth getting because you're going to spend $5 worth of time in the game, probably.
And that's all
right.
we have to say about Loco Dojo.
Hey man,
For real.
you
right.
brought up
No,
Poker
I
Stars,
was just joking because I had the Loco Dojo trailer running the entire time.
All right, so guys, there was, believe it or not, comrades, there was a game that came out this week that we are going to give you our review, all three of us together, and we're going to argue and fight and disagree a little bit. So you maybe, if you're lucky, you'll get a little bit of drama here with some disagreements. Probably not very likely, though.
We're not going to disagree at all.
Dave, what came out this week?
Oh, thank you for asking, comrade. It's a game called
Duh.
Yupitergrad. And this is
Duh.
the worst accent I've ever tried to do. So I'm going to stop that immediately. It is very cell shaded, but it looks great in the headset, I'll say. And it
What
looks
is
great
it?
on the stream too. Yupitergrad. I told you. It's a swinging game for swingers out there, if you're into that sort of thing. You have two plungers for hands.
Okay.
And basically it's like you're Spider-Man in a long tunnel with shit that can kill you, and the tunnel just goes on forever. And it looks colorful. I don't know. What would you guys say about it? How would you describe Yupitergrad? I think that's pretty spot on,
Brian.
if you ask me. No? No?
Yes. Yupitergrad. Yes, very dude, this game is all about locomotion. That's what this game is. Like everything else, like if this was a game, this is gonna be my description. Trust me, it's gonna make sense. If this was a game where you walked around from place to place and you did the things that the game asked you to do, it would be one of the most boring games of all time. But
Oh,
because
of course, yeah.
but because most of what you're doing other than moving from place to place is like you're pushing a button, you're pulling a lever, like I mean like very very boring simple things. But you're flying around, man. Like yeah, you're doing the Windlands thing, you're doing the Spider-Man thing, and but there's yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but I do want to dive deep into it. The
Okay.
Let me just start with what I really love about this game, guys.
Yeah.
The locomotion system, like the locomotion design, the thought process of what this game is supposed to be, and that is, like you said, swinging around a lot, and also not just swinging around, but also having like little jetpack little boosts that you can also use to swim underwater. I love the locomotion system in this thing because of like even the main menu took me like 5 minutes to get out of the main menu because I could sit there, shoot up into the wall, and then I was just swinging around, and I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like I can enjoy. I enjoy this. That alone.
That's the deep dive I was going to take is because these plunger controller things that are like strapped to your arm, strapped to your arms, you're holding the move controllers and it looks like giant arm plungers. When you,
That's because it pretty much is.
that's what it is, right? But there's something really satisfying about this, and I don't think it comes across right away, because you can push a button to retract the ropes, right? So you like boom. You've got these plungers that stick against the wall, and then you can hold down a button and like slowly ravel you up and like get you to where you need to go. But they do this great thing that feels amazing where you tug on the move controllers and you kind of propel yourself toward your target. And when you do that, there's not only like this great clicking sound, like where you can actually hear the rope retracting a little bit, but also it vibrates in the move controllers, and it really feels like that you've got these things strapped to your arms, like, and you really are moving around with these. And I don't think I gave that element of it, that level of immersion of it, enough credit in my review. But yeah, the locomotion system does feel like pretty fantastic in this, and it takes a little while to get down.
And the other thing too is, there's also descending, which is fun, like almost like Mission Impossible style. If you hooked something, you can just rope down or up as easily, But there's these jetpacks that kind of give you the feeling of swinging, right? Like if I'm holding on with this one and I push the jetpack, it'll start pushing me in that direction and get me set up for the swing that I need. And the game isn't like really clear about explaining that to you. I think, Brian, you had to tell me over the phone that was something I should do, pretty much.
That's because AJ told me over the phone that was something I had to do, so I just passed the word along to you.
I still sucked at the game. I was still some of these people probably saw my stream. It was really bad. I know you guys were in there. I was terrible at it. But I did start to learn, okay, this pushes me forward, and this control does this does that. And it's a little esoteric, I guess, at first to figure out like what button does what. It's got the split turning, which I kind of hate. You know what I mean? One button on one controller to turn right, one button on the other controller to turn left, instead of them both being on the same hand.
Right.
But you get used to it after a while, and it is satisfying. But I think, like you said, it's not too long, and I think really the time trials are the things that are exciting. The time trials to me were, I think, Brian, you're on the same page here. The most fun part of the game, the thing that actually got me into it.
Well, it's the reason why, man. Look, this is the thing. I liked what they were going for with the campaign. What the reason the time trials are fun, and the most fun part about this game, is when you really can turn it loose and you can swing really fast and you get all that momentum and more speed. And the time trials lets you do that. Is designed for that, to how fast can you go, and that makes it more fun, more exciting.
The skill ceiling for this locomotion system is really high, and I feel like you could get really good with this. Like, we've said this before, but like watching Elvert world record speed run the Iron Man demo time trial, like you see how somebody can be so good at one locomotion system and really like take it to that level where it's probably really fun too, practicing that skill, getting good at it, and then getting that run where you're just like faster than anybody and you know exactly what you're doing. So people who are into that sort of thing might really want to take a look at this one just because of the time trials. Keep me honest here. How many time trials levels are there?
20
to go through. 20. Okay, so that's not bad. I only played, I think, maybe 4 of them or so. Are they all samey, just like the campaign is?
They get more difficult. They get more and more difficult. I haven't played.
Okay.
I don't know how many Bryan got through, but I haven't
Not
actually
20.
gotten through all the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
Certainly.
Yeah, gotten through them all yet.
Loose Life, you said you got all through 50 stages. I was like, I can get through like stage 12.
Yeah.
But going back to the, I complained so much about the campaign my first time through. Anybody who's on the Discord, anybody who was in voice chat with me, every single time I talked about Yupitergrad, I was like, I don't want to go play more. It's a 2-hour campaign, and I think it took me 4 sessions to get through, because I was like, I don't want to go back to this. I'm just not interested in what it's doing. And then I beat the game, and I was like, I really feel more proficient with these plunger things. I really feel like I can get around. When you're just sometimes going super fast isn't the way to do it. Sometimes just kind of playing casually and like slowly maneuvering your way around these places is the way to do it. And it feels good to really stretch out your arm. Don't hold back. Really stretch out your arm and really go for those different platforms and kind of meander around this place. And by the end of my first time through, I felt so proficient at it that I was like, I want to start over. I want to start over immediately and see how much better I am at this game now. And that's actually, I started putting my review together and saw how bad I was, and saw how many times I slammed into walls, and how many times I struggled just to open a little yellow fence and shoot my web slingers through it and get through it. It was so difficult the first time through. The second time through, I blasted through the campaign half the time, not even, and did it all in one run, and had way more fun. Everything just felt fast and fluid, and I was able to open the gate and blast through it, and no questions about it. Just ripping vents off and going through it. It just felt good, and it was the campaign was actually enjoyable the second time through. To me, this game felt like it was made by developers who were very good at their own locomotion system and didn't really consider how other people were going to react to it.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
They practiced
you
it
get so
long.
used to your game. Yeah.
Right.
Because some of the most basic stuff isn't really easy or obvious. Getting through that one part where there's we've all remembered this part. There's rotating cylinders with death stuff on them. And there's a little window of just rising upwards, and you basically have to grip the thing above you and rise up, right? But the game doesn't really explain that very well, or how you're supposed to do it. And there's things like that where you'll die 5 times before you figure out what the fuck you want to do. AJ's I got it the first time. I'm great.
Of course.
No, that's not what I'm like.
We all pale in comparison.
Good. Continue.
I do think in a way it does all feel like a tutorial, but a tutorial that's not giving you the ropes that you need. There aren't moments that really teach you how to be great at the game until you beat the game, like you said, and then you're like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with this.
Right.
And then there's so much freedom in the speed and the movement when you have it down that that's a great time. But you're not going to get it in the first hour of the game or the first 2 hours of the game. Probably.
So a couple little problems I had. First of all, the button mapping. I feel like they didn't do the button mapping as best as they could. Luckily, most of the time you're just swinging with the triggers, but they really didn't utilize it. They really missed an opportunity to have both the turn buttons on the bottom side, and then have the cranks the slack and the pull on the top. And it's that easy. But instead, they have one button on the top that is blank, that doesn't do anything. The other top left one is a menu. And it's there's an options button. It's why didn't you switch this around a little bit to be normal button?
It's really awkward, too. You have to shoot a plunger at every menu option you want.
I love the menu. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's good.
I think
it's so
easier
goofy.
I think it's easier to point and click than shoot a plunger at a menu option. But maybe
But
that's
it's
just
so
me.
goofy.
Maybe it's silly.
It
it's
is
fun.
pointing and clicking.
I like
it's just
fun.
when you point and click, there's
that's
a plunger
fine. Okay.
that shoots out.
Maybe you're right.
I sat there
the fun factor is important. I get it.
So the thing is, the control scheme, I think some people are going to be annoyed with it. It's going to turn some people away, but I think majority of people will be okay. But it is going to make it so every time you pick up this game for the first time, you're going to have to remember because it just doesn't feel like where your brain naturally wants to go with some of the buttons. And I think that's a little problematic. I think they should eventually, even though it's not broken or anything, not even near broken, I think for just fluid and easy to pick up and play, I think they maybe want to update that. The thing about the campaign is that, you know, like I said, the strength of this game is swinging really, really fast and having lots of fun, swinging, going as fast as you can and stuff like that. The music kicks in. What the campaign does is that it stops you too many times, and it's the pacing of it stopping you constantly. And rather than having this awesome locomotion system, you're sitting there just like staring at something or figuring something out. And it's not designed. The game being fun is not designed in a way to sit there and think about stuff and figure stuff out. Some of the stuff where you have to, like, you know, interact with puzzles and stuff, it was kind of nice. Some of them were pretty cool, but most of them, honestly, the execution of it wasn't the greatest. I felt like
it's super basic. I mean, it's fairly basic.
It's pretty basic.
I think I played maybe half the game. I don't know. I played for like an hour. So
it's also like some of the backtracking and stuff. Like it just it was a little strange. But that's really the two little complaints I have about this game is for the campaign. Like I could see them adding on to this game and focusing more on the multiplayer and the competitive side of this game. And it could really be something special, I think. With the way they have it, I think they just need to ditch the campaign stuff and just move forward with the time attack, move forward with the mini games, like more mini game stuff with the two plungers would be so much more fun. I feel like,
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good start to this game. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential, and I think it's solid for what it is, but I think there's even more potential than maybe they even notice right now.
Yeah. The locomotions feel so good, but again, yeah, just like you said, I think they didn't use it to its full potential. It feels great to swing around this whole environment, but it's too frequently you're kind of like shoved down these narrow hallways where you can't even
it's all really narrow hallways. I mean, the only time you get out of that is when it's a tube that has a bunch of spinning things that'll kill you. That's really big, but like it's pretty much all hallways. I feel like the thing with Windlands and Windlands 2 coming out soon and stuff. It's like
huge open environments.
Big environments, open world feeling comparatively. Like you could just go wherever you want if you can suction your way over there. And in this one, you're just always going down a tube. And I think as much as I like the locomotion and as much as I like, to some degree, the art style, like it looks really crisp. It plays very smoothly. It's just a little underwhelming, I guess, when it comes to like the whole thing, the whole package. What are we talking about here? $25?
I like
$25?
15.
15. Okay,
and that's the important thing here.
Better than I thought. Actually, 15 is like, I could even say if you like speedrunning games.
Yeah.
The time trials would be a fun thing to do for $15.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah.
I didn't see leaderboards when I was playing.
There are leaderboards.
Yeah. You have to go back to the main menu to see them,
not the main menu.
They're not
just
on the level, or
the lobby of the time trials. You know how you have the campaign lobby and the time trial lobby? Yeah, there. And
I was just expecting, and I wish they would patch this. Hopefully we can say something, and they will. But like when you beat a level, it'd be nice to see your ranking. You know, like to see where you are on the leaderboard. I think almost every game with a leaderboard tells you when you beat the speed run,
right?
You know, where you stand. And so to me, that just, I assumed there wasn't even a leaderboard because of that.
I assumed that too. It took me a while to figure out where they were.
And I think most players will probably. So
yeah,
that'd be nice to tweak that a little bit.
No, the $15 price point I think is very, very important when considering, you know, what we say about this game, because I think it's kind of perfectly priced, to be honest with you, for what they gave us. You know, I would have loved some more variety in the campaign. I would have loved a longer campaign. You know, and I'd be willing to, you know, maybe pay $5 for an extended campaign if they decide to do that down the line. You know, and get more inventive with the things that you have to do with those plungers. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But
what do you want to do with those plungers, Brian? How inventive do you want?
I don't want any more. I would not pay for.
How sexy are we getting here?
I would not pay for more campaign material here. I would like them to just expand on the time trials. because the campaign it was cool, but it wasn't even executed the best way it could have been.
Right.
Well, like you guys said, I mean, the locomotion is the game. That's the fun part of the game, and so that's why the time trials are just better.
Right.
Like the campaign doesn't really, it stops you from doing that sometimes, and it says, "Hey, shoot this thing that you have to look around for." Like, and that really kills your momentum, and you just want to be swinging around, basically.
Well, I don't want to ignore that this is actually there's actually like a decent platformer buried in here too. It's not just, I mean, I maybe it goes without saying that like this kind of locomotion means it's a platformer, but like there's some things that require a little bit of precision, and having those jets to kind of slide
like a
you in place.
platformer without any platforms. There's nothing to land on the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it's an anti-platformer.
I do the video that was playing when you said that was perfect. It was like literally me landing on a moving platform.
Okay, well, I mean, most of the stuff that
it is definitely
with a lot of midair stuff and not so much landing on things, but more just using the top of it to like get me by. Yeah. That might happen later, and I might have missed that part.
The platforming, the obstacles, I just felt were better done and stuff like to the top. Our sprint vector, the gameplay was just not fluid all the time, and some of the things I got through, I was kind of janky. Like I made it through it, but it didn't feel very smooth. Like it was like, man, I don't know, like that didn't feel very well crafted for this exactly. Like,
I felt that my first time through. I did. I was like, oh my god. The only reason I made it through this long platforming section was because I got super lucky. I was like, and I just kind of blasted my way to the end or something. And then the second time through, I was like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like almost like dancing to the music and stuff. And I'm feeling what this game's supposed to be.
Some of the music's pretty good, by the way. Like
really
some
good.
of the music in the time trials, especially, I was like, oh, this shit bumps. Like this is pretty good.
It's really
like
good.
Some of it really gets you going. Has that like momentum to it that makes you want to speed run.
Can we do do you guys have any more thoughts on this, or can we do like a quick rating on this? And
what I was going to say is we should move on because we're reaching.
It's also not the most exciting thing to talk about,
and we don't have the sale yet. We haven't done the sale yet. So we should move on.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who doesn't know the without parole rating scale, it's 1 is a must buy, 2 is like if it's your thing, or if it's on sale, pick it up. 3 is avoid it. What would you guys give it?
This is from a different show, though. We never do this on this show, but
true.
I would say it's a 2. For me, it's a 2.
Yeah, no, for me it's a 2. Absolutely,
solid 2 for me too. Yeah. It's if it's your thing, you're gonna really like it. If not, it's maybe not, or just wait for a sale. Yeah. But it's solid.
Totally.
All right, so guys, this is what we're doing here. There's actually 2 sales, but we delayed one sale last week, and we are going to cover that one this week, and then we're going to do the indie sale next week, because otherwise we're going to be here for 5 days, and we don't have 5 days.
That is correct.
As much as we could,
there's only about 7 people that would be like, let's stay for 5 days, and the rest of you guys are like, hey, we got some place to be, man. Let's fucking move this along.
I'm not gonna lie, like I would
still have more work to do tonight.
Totally be down, but
I know I said I was going to leave at 9. I'll stick around. We can do the one sale. That's fine.
Okay,
but
cool.
I do have work to do after this, and I haven't eaten yet. So I'm like,
I haven't eaten yet either, man. I'm starving. Okay.
So for anyone who doesn't know, what we're going to do is we're going to run through the games that are currently on sale. This is the first sale that went live last week. There's still a good chunk of them, so we got some work ahead of us right now. But basically, we're going to give it thumbs up, thumbs down, plead our cases for some reason, for any reason we want.
For some as briefly as we possibly can.
Yeah.
As briefly as we possibly can,
Dave.
And
just saying. I mean,
it's funny. Funny coming from you, Dave.
Okay, sorry. I know I said I was rambling. I'm sorry. It's been a long fucking day, man.
Lethal Weasel makes a good point, man.
Lethal
Weasel makes a good point. If you started Yupitergrad at the beginning of this show, you're already done.
You would have finished it. Yeah, that's true.
Although
the time trials, plenty to do there.
Absolutely. Good replayability. Okay, so and just to clarify, the sale that we're doing now is the double discount sale, I believe.
Yes,
and I think that ends on the 11th.
Correct. And next week we'll do the indie sale, which is much bigger.
Okay, excellent.
So we are going to start with A Fisherman's Tale for $7.49.
Not bad. I mean, if you like inventive kind of puzzle games, it's not bad. there's some magic to it. I feel like there's certain moments I remember, like getting in the fish's mouth and floating around in the fish and stuff, and looking up at yourself for the first time and realizing, if you guys don't know this game, it's got an interesting concept where it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk for a long time.
Dave,
Fine. Thumbs up.
why do you think I
Thumbs
gave
up.
you? Why do you think I
Thumbs
called you
up.
out? Yeah.
I'm actually going to give this one a thumbs down. It's not a bad game. It has a lot of charm. It's got a great art style, but the gameplay and the content and stuff, I'm just not the biggest fan of. But it has its magical moments for sure. But I'm going to
It's
say,
not great, but I mean, for $7.50, like you could do
It's
worse.
worth it.
You could
It's
definitely
worth
do worse than
still
$7.50.
doing
Side thumb. I'm doing.
He's like, it's worth it. It's totally worth it, guys. I want you to make sure that you realize that I'm saying it's totally worth it.
Side thumb because
No.
I think the novelty, a very very inventive game, but the novelty wears off within 20 minutes, and then the game's over in 90 minutes. So I'm like, psh,
That's true.
There
This
you
is
go.
true.
All right, next
It's
we
only
have
$7.50.
Apex Construct for $4.99.
yeah. No, this is great, man. This is great. There's definitely a nice, decent length
Is that
adventure
you?
in here. Very interesting. It's No, it's good. It's good. Fucking fast travel
Is that-
games, man. Support them. $5. It's $5.
You get it. You get it.
I get it. Dave was doing his Apex
Yeah.
simulator. Right?
Yeah.
Which they've
raise
improved.
that from the
They've
keyboard.
actually patched that. So
They did. Yeah, that's true.
This game has an amazing, impressive world and stuff. And the bow physics and stuff feel pretty good. But it's just know that it's a very slow paced and like there's not a lot of enemy variety, if at all. This one's gonna have a lot of people torn. But for $5, I'm gonna say yes because I do think it is worth $5. Absolutely, it's worth more than that. But it's not gonna be for everybody. It's very slow paced. So if you want to, it's immersive but slow.
Yeah, I mean, for a campaign style game, I guess I'll give it a thumbs up. So personally, I'm like kind of middle of the road here, but I'll give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm still kind of like Arca's Path for $4.99.
Oh my god, this is one of the worst
no.
games on PlayStation VR. It's
Couldn't
so
agree more.
boring.
Not
I'm
good.
giving it a middle because I saw somebody in our community talk at length about how much they loved this game. And if it's cheap and it looks like something you'd like, I guess maybe give it a shot. I don't know.
Dave,
I'm
what's
in
your
the
opinion?
middle.
What's your opinion though?
I didn't like it that much, but
Yeah,
I
go
don't
with your
hate it.
opinion
I don't
first.
hate it.
Listen, this game, they raved
It's
and
not
raved and
perfect.
raved about accessibility. They're like, you don't even need to touch a controller. I was like, but at the end of like playing it for 30 minutes, I had a stiff neck.
Your neck fucking hurt.
So,
Yeah. No,
It's like,
I
what
understand
kind of
that.
accessibility are we talking about here? It's like you're causing new problems for people who have other problems. I don't understand. Terrible.
The physics and stuff were just awful. The I like what they went for.
I don't-
All you had to do was make Marble
nothing about
Madness with your face, and they screwed that up. It's not good at all.
The best thing I'll say about this game is that they did do cutscenes in a good way with that 3D comic book art that Pistol
Yeah.
Whip ended up using later,
Yeah.
and I like that sort of thing.
Listen, if you're gonna make Marble Madness in VR, make it Super Monkey Ball in VR. Make me the monkey.
Yes!
Put me in the ball and
Yes!
make me do this because that would be hilarious. Okay, next.
sure.
Yeah, that sounds like so fun, like being at a Flaming Lips concert or something.
All right. Next, we have Arizona Sunshine $9.99 or the Arizona Sunshine Deluxe Edition for $11.24. What say you, gents?
Yeah, it's
kinda-
I always say if it's under $12, buy it. It's
Yeah,
there's
well,
definitely
I mean,
some
the
jank.
deluxe edition too. If you get the deluxe edition, that's all the DLC, right?
I don't know if the deluxe edition has a DLC. What does it have? I think
What is deluxe?
I
What's
don't know.
deluxe about it.
I
Because I assume, I mean, their DLC is
I'm
so
looking it
cheap.
up
It's like
now.
$2.50 each or something, right?
Look, this game is all right.
It's decent. If you
I'm-
want to play
I'm
with
excited.
a friend, it's fun.
I'm excited about After the Fall, J Meow. I'm still gonna have to give this a no. I'm sorry.
Thumbs up for After the Fall, middle of the road for. But it is so cheap. If you've never played it and you have an aim controller and you
I
have
hate
a
to
friend with an
say
aim
it.
controller
you get.
and you want to play through a
Some people
co-op
like it with the moves.
shooter, I would say
I like it with the moves. I like it with both, honestly. Yeah.
I'm like the least appreciative of Arizona Sunshine, I think, but I'm still going to give it like a light thumbs up, like a light for this price. It's so cheap. Like
I think it's good. I think it's good. A good length campaign. The horde modes. I think you play 4 players. The horde modes are really fun. So I mean, yeah, for me, it's a pretty clear cut thumbs up.
It's too janky for me. I'm gonna go no, but it's a decent game. It's decent. It's okay.
I didn't expect you to say that.
I think I've only said yes to this like once or twice. I'm I don't know. I've never been a big fan of this game. I've tried. I get too many bugs every time, and
No, I mean, I think I called my review of this hype train derailed or something like really incendiary.
Some people will like this game. Now, see,
I'm
David.
just saying, at this point, it's decent.
I know. David's telling me that it's been patched. It's still bugged with me. I think I played with you, David, and I know you're a big fan of this. I'm not saying you're wrong if you like this game. Just me personally, no. Bartender VR simulator for $13.99.
I didn't even need to hear the price. Doesn't matter what the price
No
is.
discussion. No discussion.
Talk about
next
janky.
game.
Janky, pointless.
Let's go. Next game.
Batman Arkham VR for $13.99, or with PlayStation Plus, $7.99.
$7.99 is the good price.
Yes.
$13.99 almost seems too expensive at this point.
Yes.
But it is a really solid. I mean, we still have.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, we have these launch experiences that are still really good.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played it for $7.99, like totally check it out. It's a lot of fun. You're a little detective Batman guy. It's cool.
Yeah, like you said, I wish this was like a real Batman Arkham game, but $7.99 I will say yes to. Not the $13.99. $7.99 I will say yes to, because there is some replay value here, even though it's super short and it's like the not fun part of Batman.
But for $8, even if you just played it once, it's still a decent.
It's immersive. It's cool to show people.
Enough. Yeah,
and there is some replay value with the Riddler missions, so I will say yes. What about you guys?
It's been on sale for $6. It's been on sale for $6 before, and no, I don't think there's plus required. But that doesn't. I still think it's worth the $8. Don't buy it for more than that. It's great. It's beautiful. Thumbs up.
Yeah. You get to play piano.
Okay, Borderlands 2 VR for $37.49, or with PS Plus $24.99.
Wow, $37.49? That seems like it should be higher than the base price at this point, but $24.99 is a decent price. I mean, if you don't have it yet, you could probably wait for it to go to 20 or something. But
I think if you haven't, well, I don't know. It actually plays it's actually pretty fun with
that includes all the DLC and everything, I guess, too.
16 free packs DLC. Yeah. This is a big thumbs up for me. This game, especially if you want a game that's like meaty and you can put lots of hours into, this game gets better the more you play it.
Yeah.
And not many games can do that. Like, it's a little, the pacing is a little off throughout the story, but then you beat the game once, you replay the extra stuff again. The Tiny Tina Assault on Dragon Keep DLC was so good. It was like worth the $25 price tag alone. So this is like an absolute must have for me.
Yeah, I mean, even though I was kind of going back and forth about the price there, you got to play this game. Like, this is the only game that I've streamed the entirety of on my channel. That's like a long game. I did, like, every few days I would play the next part of it, and I played all the way through, and even did some of the Vault Hunter Plus mode or whatever it is, the New Game Plus. And so there's so much content here, and I was, like, hooked. So, yeah, if you haven't played it, must have.
Austin here says he's already played the shit out of it, though. That's going to be tricky.
Yeah, that's true.
If you are like, you have to play this with multiplayer, maybe not. For me, let me tell you just real quick, I couldn't get into this game flat. VR is what made me, especially with the aim controller, is what made me really love this game. VR and the aim controller was way more effective for me than multiplayer. So, but still, yeah.
You guys said it all 100%, especially with the aim controller. $25, a great deal. All that DLC that came, that was amazing. And that concludes the B's. Let's speed this up. Let's get onto the C's.
Creed Rise to Glory for $13.49. I'm going to actually, this is a decent game. A lot of people probably like it. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say no.
I'm middle of the road on this. I mean, it is a good game if you're into the fitness kind of thing. Don't buy it for multiplayer because no one's playing multiplayer anymore, although it does exist.
Or you just join our Discord and find somebody to play against.
Yeah, but you'd have to go out of your way to do it. Like, Rypop is like the only dude who's going to play against you, probably.
But he'll probably do it.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Absolutely. Just tag Rypop if you want to play it. But I think at this point it's hard to recommend for $13. Okay, speed it up. Whatever. Shut up. All right, fine. Then middle of the road.
I don't. It's not a bad game, but I say skip it. There's just so many other games to play. $13.
All right. Next we have Don't Knock Twice for $9.99. I'm about to tear Brian's heart out.
I'm not
This
saying
game,
shit.
I will say, look, I will quickly say it. I'll let Bryan respond to this. I think Don't Knock Twice. What it tries to go for is good. It is actually kind of scary at times, but the whole game is underwhelming, and it is so buggy. It is one of the buggiest games on PSVR, and for that reason, I gotta say no.
Okay, real quick. It's scary, and it's made me jump multiple times. I love it. It is very buggy. I've played through the entire game with no bugs, and I played through the entire game and got crazy, almost game-breaking bugs. But if you're like me, only if you're like me, and you need some scares in your life, $10 isn't a bad deal for this game. That's why I'm giving it a thumbs up. If you don't,
Scariest bugs you'll ever encounter.
if you don't crave scary games, then skip it big time.
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed with this one. Did Dave said no on this one? Okay, good.
Also, Distracted Gamecat says that
Bryan,
he'll play Greed.
didn't you recommend Deadland VR?
No, I don't think he did.
That is
I think
that
you
is
did.
that is a guilty
I think
pleasure
you
of
did.
mine that I don't actually recommend to people. I mean,
Right.
it's like
I
$5
think you
as
did.
well. So
You can enjoy something, but tell people not to buy it. That's totally normal. So that's 2 thumbs down, 1 thumbs up, I think, from Bryan, or 1 middle from
no,
Bryan.
I said thumbs up if you're like me, and if
Okay.
you are, then I'm really sorry for all the troubles you've been through in life.
Next, here we go. Dreams for $14.99 with PlayStation Plus $9.99. Dreams
Absolutely.
for $9.99.
Crazy. You crazy? Buy it. Are you crazy?
Yes.
But just go put this in your cart right now.
There
What are you
are
doing?
enough games. Doesn't matter if you don't like the
Install this.
creation tools. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you don't want the creation tools. There are way more than there's at least $20, $30 worth of games, if not 40.
Well, and you can make your own games, of course, as well.
True,
Which
that
is
as well.
like great. But,
there are
yeah,
amazing games. I've got a
I
list
mean-
of 30 that why you should go pick this up. Yes.
Yeah, for
Sausage
$10.
remix. Let's do this. Yes, definitely. All thumbs up.
Sausage remix.
Sausage
remix.
Remix. That was the worst remix ever.
3 thumbs up for Dreams.
Panorama pajama.
One of the top 10 PSVR game. Aspire 1 VR Operative for $11.99.
Nope, never.
I'm tired
Okay,
of defending this game. Okay, look, I had told you a million times before that go buy this game at $11.99. If you didn't do it back then, you're not going to do it now. I'm going to say no this time.
Yes,
I said to go get it a billion times before. Well, Hitman also, I'm like, Hitman's like out, so I'd rather you just spend money on Hitman. Yeah, sorry, Aspire, not this time. Oh God, why do I even have to say the name of this game? Good Dog, Bad Dog for $6.24.
That should have been the launch price.
Yeah,
And still, you never should have bought it.
right.
But
Yeah, and please, if you have kids, and you're like, this looks like a fun kids game, then you're underestimating your child, because
yes, absolutely.
there are great games that kids would love, like Astro Boy, like all sorts of great games that kids would love. This is not one of them. I can't stand when people try to defend bad games like Darkness Roller Coaster by saying this is a game meant for kids. You can't rate it like no. Kids deserve better, man. Don't buy this for your kid. Don't buy this for yourself. 2 thumbs down. Fuck this game.
Okay, so I've got a thumbs down, and I know I'm not here to go on and ramble, but I want to say real quickly, there was an episode recently of, what is it? Virtual Boys, which is Ryan from VR Grid and Chughead, that had Victor Lucas on from Electronic Playground, right? You guys remember that old show? Mm-hmm. Anyways, he went on at length about, like, why aren't people making good games for kids anymore? And it was actually a really interesting discussion. They have a clip of that. Well, no, but the thing is just like, when we all started playing games, the best games were what we were playing. We were playing Mario, we were playing all that stuff that was aimed at kids, but it was still really, really solid. And now, like, kids' games are kind of shitty. And he had a really good point about that. There's a cool video you guys should check out. Really interesting discussion there. But yeah, this game sucks. It's not for anybody, not for kids, not for your grandpa, not for anybody. Fuck this game.
Yep. All right, Gorn for $14.99.
Gorn for $14.99. I guess if they like Gorn, I'm surprised it's out already. I didn't realize it was out.
I'm gonna say no this time. No,
I'm like, I mean,
I'm
if
middle
you
of the
want
road.
Gorn and you don't have it,
it's not a bad game. It's okay.
Middle of the road.
It's okay.
It's fine. It does what it does. It's the replayability isn't there for me like it is for a lot of people. Some people like love to go in and like play with all the settings and stuff that you can like be giant, you can be small, you can fuck with gravity, you can do this. You know what? I don't care about that. I want to play through the campaign. And when I was done with the campaign, I was like, I'm done with the game. Basically, I've had fun and I'm done. So this is a middle of the road for me. And if you like fucking with settings and stuff and really modding the game, then you'll probably like it more than I did.
Dan Keeper says Gordon is out. What the fuck? So next we have Gran Turismo Sport for $9.99. I gotta tell you, man, I know it's
Thumbs
limited.
up.
I love it. I love you guys. Thank you. This game is limited, but look, there's all the tracks have been imported now. You have to unlock them though. But when you go to VR time trials, unlock them. But yeah, give this game a go, man. It's got amazing physics and cool tracks, and it is awesome. And you need to prepare yourself because you're going to be racing me in Gran Turismo 7 with PSVR2. Baby, let's go. Killing Floor Incursion for $7.99. Seems like
I'm going to say yes for that one. I mean, you guys just did a show with Aceville about how good that game was.
It's not a perfect game by any means, but
for $7.99 though, play with your friends, great time.
But yeah, $7.99, good times. LA Noir, the VR case files for $14.99. Yeah,
it could be a little cheaper, but it is like the closest thing to like driving around in an open world that we have in VR, even though it's like an empty open world.
It's the closest thing to like
an
a
empty
Rockstar, like
yeah,
GTA.
it is a Rockstar game, so that's why it's the closest thing to a Rockstar game. But yeah,
like a
let's do a thumbs up. Let's do a thumbs up for that.
I've got serious issues with the immersion here.
Yeah.
I've got a review on this game. Go watch the review.
I've got a review on it. Go watch my review. It's better.
My review's better.
I'm 60% up for this one, 40% down. 60% up, 40% middle, I guess.
No, my reviews.
I'm definitely giving it a thumbs up. I also have problems with the immersion. I also have problems with some of the things that they did to the game. They also removed like a third of the game. But the fact is what's there is fun, and for $15, I think it's the right price.
Yeah. Okay, I'm cool with that. Loading Human Chapter 1. You never for $4.49. You're never gonna convince me to buy this. I'm sorry.
I still haven't bought it yet.
You're never gonna convince me.
I have no opinion.
What is that?
Okay, here's the thing. It was $40 at launch. I played it. I was like, this isn't a $40 game. Maybe a $20 game. You gotta love old school point and click adventure games. You gotta love a story that's like not gonna blow you away. No action. It's like you just know what
you gotta love a story that's not gonna blow you away.
Yeah, like honestly, like there's no huge
like
revelations where you're like, oh my god. But like the
Okay.
experience as a whole was like kind of nice to go through, and I sort of enjoyed it. And there's some cool like very VR moments where you're like, oh, I'm in the bathroom mirror and I'm shaving and I'm doing this, But it's not really well designed, and it feels old because of the antiquated locomotion system. But for $5 is the right price for this game. And so if you like point and click adventure games and you know what you're getting into, this is the right price. But not everyone's going to enjoy this. Most people probably won't.
All right. So No Man's Sky for $44.99. That's a no. But No Man's Sky with PS Plus for $29.99. Honestly, obviously, also a no for me, just because you can buy the physical edition of this game for like super cheap.
Yeah. It's been out used. Go to GameStop or something.
Hopefully
$15
you
or
already
something,
have
right?
this game. Like, if you have a PS5, honestly, if you have a PS5, yeah, fucking buy this right now.
That's my caveat. Yeah, like it was too blurry before PS5, and with the PS5 patch, I definitely think it's a must-have.
It's worth $30 if you don't already own it, and then you've got a PS5, and you don't feel like running down to a store to buy one.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest games ever made.
David the Game Cat says, I heard loading Human Chapter 2 is delayed.
I heard it's been delayed, a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Faded the Silent Oath Chapter 2 is right around the corner.
We can do this. Come on. Out of Ammo for $4.49. No. Horrible game since launch.
It's not horrible, but I'll give it a thumbs down just to move things along.
I like the idea. It's a tech demo, though.
I think it's okay, but let's move things along.
Penn and Teller VR for $13.99. PS
No,
Plus
bad.
$7.99.
Bad.
Absolutely no.
Bad.
Yeah,
not even a game.
I mean, no. I guess
it's not a game.
It's for the Dezes of the world, man, and like there's like only one Dez in the world, so.
Well, but even Dez doesn't want to make his friend smash an actual egg in real life while he's wearing a VR headset. It's a terrible idea. Why would you want a friend to smash an egg in real life inside your house as a prank? That's a prank on me. I got to clean that shit up.
Right.
That's a problem for me. I don't want that.
Get it all over your VR. Like
some of these are really poorly implemented. Like you have to buy a bunch of plastic spiders for one of them and shit. Like it's stupid.
Yeah, very stupid.
I will say, Dez bought the plastic spiders, or probably just had them on hand.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, and he came over and we did this game properly, and some of it was really cool. But like
I did that with my friend too. Like in real life, I videotaped like He was playing the Rochambeau thing where I walked out of the room and like took a lap around the neighborhood and came back in, and he thought he was still playing against me and stuff. But like at the end of the day, what's the big prank there? Like, oh, you thought you were playing against me, but you weren't. Ha 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 ha. Like it's not that exciting at the end of the day. So
anyway,
big thumbs down.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. I'm loving this. Pinball FX VR2, the ultimate bundle for $14.99.
Yes.
We were just talking about this. Big yes.
Prepare
Pinball.
for Star Wars.
Awesome.
Get ready for Star Wars.
There's mini games. This has like a sniper mode. Like there's like pinball games where it goes in like sniper mode and stuff. So it's like really interactive. There's stuff flying
the
around.
Walking Dead one. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, for pinball. It is badass. Psychonauts in the Rummus of Ruin for $5.99. Sorry, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say if you're a fan of the Psychonauts series, yeah, probably give it a shot because like it's well done for what it is. It's kind of like a point and click adventure, almost like Bryan was talking about before. Like there's little puzzles and stuff, but it's mostly like point to point teleport. But I mean, it's if you're into the franchise, I'm thumbs up in it like Bryan is. Yeah.
Yeah, Psychonauts is awesome. Like this isn't actually a bad entryway either.
It's well polished and stuff.
Right. If you have never played a Psychonauts game, like this is like a good entryway. You learn something about the characters, and then you're like, man, I should check out that Psychonauts 1 platformer game and go back and play it. What's that?
I didn't have that feeling. I'm sorry.
Okay. Nope. This is why we're not.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You just said
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Let's go.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. So. Robinson the Journey for $8.99. I'm coming for you tonight, Bryan. No, this game's awful.
Unplayable on PS5 as well, apparently.
Yeah. Can't even play it on PS5.
Listen, but no one has PlayStation. But no one has PlayStation 5, so we can't rate it on that. You can't even get a PlayStation 5, Dave.
Turn this around on me.
So we can't even put that in consideration.
No, everybody wants me and AJ to fight. You want to fight, Bryan? I'm ready to fight.
Brian,
no.
I will fight right now.
Obviously, if you're playing on PlayStation 5, don't buy this. But man, for the price, that's a great deal. Sure. Also, Hunter, thanks for showing up. I know you're a little bit late, like 6 hours late. Alvo wanted you to know
just about
that Alvo has moved support. So you're welcome. That is a message we were told to pass along to you from Alvo.
I've heard it's pretty good too. Actually, I've heard people playing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Next up,
Ski Jumping Pro for $9.99.
Hey, that's way too expensive. That should be $2.99, baby.
What are you doing?
Get that shit out.
I would actually recommend this game at $2.99.
Yeah, me too. It's 10 though. Yeah,
it's 10.
Yeah.
$10. No way. Oh my god, Tornado is being so fucking cute.
So right cute. She keeps being like, Bryan, I want your attention.
Carlos is boring as hell. Carlos, where are you? I think he's outside.
Hey Dave, what's my dog's name?
What?
What's my dog's name, Dave?
Why are you doing this?
I almost said it.
Rufio, of course.
No, that's Mark Rufio.
Skyworld for $7.49.
Well, maybe if you brought the dog on the damn stream, I'd know who it was.
Skyworld, I'm gonna have to say no.
I heard good stuff about Skyworld, but I still haven't played it myself, so I'm gonna go middle of the road.
It's just such a boring VR game. Like, it'd be a much better I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't play non-VR games, AJ. So my only chance to play a strategy game is gonna be Skyworld. So yes,
I would actually recommend a different strategy game. No Heroes Allowed.
I would also recommend that. They're both great games.
That game kicks ass, dude. Yeah, I love No Heroes Allowed.
Sprint Vector, you guys, is $8.99.
Yep.
Sprint Vector, let's go. Jet Set Radio, parkour. So much color and style and flash. And
I wish it was more Jet Set Radio, but it's pretty cool. If they combine those mechanics with King Spray Graffiti, that's your old Jet Set Radio.
There you go.
Only
thumbs up.
Thumbs up. This is a very physical game. Just throwing that out there. So if you don't like physical games, then yeah. So
and once again, we always have to say, it's an online multiplayer thing that's fun, but you have to get a group together. So hit up the Discord if you actually want to do that. It's not going to be like you can just pop into a game at this point. But good game.
Yeah, join our Discord. Join our Discord. We'll play Sprint Vector.
Battle Lake.
Yeah.
Okay, Star Wars Squadrons with it's $31.99. It's PS Plus $23.99.
Yep,
that is a great price for Squadrons. I mean, full campaign, online multiplayer. They keep adding stuff to it. Yes, thumbs.
I don't want to sound wrong here. I don't mean to sound bad here, but I'm going to say no because
what's wrong with you? What are you talking about?
Because the physical edition is $20 like every other day.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
That's the only reason.
Hey,
only
but
reason.
what about I know that
constantly.
we don't consider PlayStation 5 when we have these conversations, but what about all the cats who don't have a disc drive in their PlayStation 5, AJ?
All 5 of them.
Yeah, all 5 of
then-
you guys should buy this game right now.
Well, then get it next time it goes for $20 like it does every other week.
This is the thumbs up. This is a clear thumbs up for $23.99.
Great game though. Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets for $6.74. No, not a fan of this.
It's okay.
I'm gonna go yes because
I'm gonna go middle.
I thought it was a nice especially for this price. This is a great price for it. 15 seemed a little bit high, but yeah, I loved exploring those worlds. They were adorable and like the mini puzzles that you had to solve. Very very cute game. But know what you're getting into.
Well,
This is a great kids game.
I was just about to say, we talked about bads. I'm changing mine to a thumbs up because we talked about bad kids games earlier. I went on a whole rant about that, but this is a good kids game. This is a good ass kids game. I think if you got a kid around, throw them in there. It's good.
LOB Seahawks 12. So Sprint Vector lobbies are always popping on Tuesday nights. Good to know. Thank you for letting me know.
Oh, Sprint Vector Tuesday. I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
All right. So this should be an interesting one. The Walking Dead Onslaught for $17.99.
Just buy
Kind of hard to argue with that
instead.
Yeah, definitely my first answer, but we have to save that for next week.
Oh, if that's on sale too, then don't buy this. But
Yeah, the fact is,
not-
if you need more Walking Dead in your life and you've already played Saints and Sinners, or if you need more zombie games in your life and you've already played all of the other ones, because I do, this for me, this game has really high highs and really low lows, and unfortunately, the lows last way too long. The story is boring. A lot of the campaign is monotonous and repetitive, and then I really like I like the runs, the scavenging runs. I think that's fun. But then, like by the end of the game, even that gets repetitive. So, I'm gonna say, I guess no.
I'm a no on this one, I think, or at least like
I'll give it a little love, so we don't all just shit on it, and I'll give it a sideways and say
It's tough, man. It's tough.
I'll do
Captain
sideways.
B has the right answer here and says just get Killing Floor Incursion instead. That's got co-op, that's got better physics, that's got zombies and stuff, and it's better story almost.
So the thing with The Walking Dead Onslaught is that even if you love the TV show, you're not actually getting most of the voice actors from the TV show.
Right.
You're not really getting a story that's comparable to the TV show.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything like that. And so with Saints and Sinners, you get a really full experience that is in that universe that's just so much more polished and just a better game, really. At the end of the day.
$18 is hard to argue with, but yeah.
It's a cheap price. I mean, if you like
Very
Walking Dead enough that you want to play both, I mean, go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
But first, play Saints and Sinners.
Yep. All right. Time Carnage, Brian, for $7.99.
Time Carnage. You can shoot a Velociraptor with a
I don't want to
revolver.
Hold
on.
I want to ride them.
Yeah, I'm going thumbs down, but you can shoot a revolver with a Velociraptor, and he flies. He ragdolls across the fucking world. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the most fun thing about that game to me was just like shooting dinosaurs and having them fly like crazy. Really stupid ways. But thumbs down. Sorry.
Thumbs down. Bad game. Blurry.
I'm not a fan. Just
Wave shooter. Torn for $10.49. It was PS Plus $7.49.
Torn? You said torn?
Yeah.
Man. Middle of the road. The puzzles get repetitive. The story isn't like enough to engage you. There is some magic at the beginning where you're sort of like, oh, this game could be awesome.
yeah.
And then it just doesn't really pan out that way. That's kind of how Blind was too. It's called Blind, right?
Yeah.
I felt the same way at the beginning of both of those, where it just didn't really end up being worth my time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, like, it might be good if you're into puzzle experiences, but like middle of the road, I would say.
I think if you could somehow strip the puzzles out of this game, I'd be like, hey, actually, this is really fun. You get to like use your little telekinesis gun and stuff, and like throw shit around, and but the puzzles just drag it down, and the puzzles are all exactly the same. It's the same puzzle over and over and over and over and over again for the entire game, which sucks because I think this game actually looks really good. People complain about the resolution, but I
It
think
does. Yeah, it actually does.
yeah, and I had fun dicking around in this game, but I didn't actually have fun playing the game. So I have to say no.
Yep. Nope. Okay, so moving on. We're almost through this, you guys. We've got Until You Fall for 1874.
Yes. At
Must
full
own
price.
game.
Yes,
You gotta
at
play this.
1874.
Buy it. It's great. It's one of our new faves. It's on
Yes.
the top 25. It's good. Let's
Sirens
go.
on my end.
Sword fighting game. Arcade style sword fighting game. Very colorful. Great music.
Roguelite. We love roguelites.
Yep. VR ping pong for $49. No.
Said no. Get Racket Fury.
So
Just
bad.
buy Racket Fury.
Yeah,
VR
don't buy any ping pong game, including the one we're about to talk about, except for Racket Fury.
VR Ping Pong Pro, $9.99.
Also a no. Just
Also
like
a
you said,
no.
let's go. Next
Physics
one.
are so horribly broken on both of those.
We're on V already, which means we're
and
almost done.
V.
The last
VR, Brian.
I'm ordering a pizza now. You've just convinced
Okay,
me.
let's go.
is
How do you like it?
Witching Tower VR for $6.99.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a fun
Beautiful.
little campaign. Not super long, but
Beautiful gothic puzzle game. I'll give it to it. This one. It's got combat in it,
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
I'll
there's
give
some
it to it,
combat
baby.
too.
puzzle.
Yeah.
Mostly have the puzzles, but great atmosphere, great art style and stuff. Kind of dark and haunting. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down with this game for $6.99. Absolutely.
You're down with
Is
this
Ghost
game.
Giant in the other sale?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay, Ghost Giant, thumbs up. Everybody buy Ghost Giant.
So-
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody was asking us in the chat. We could obviously talk about it more next week, but somebody was asking us about Theseus.
Oh, Theseus is okay.
It's a great $2 game. $2.50.
$2
For
is
cheap.
about the extent
yeah,
of
for
it. Yeah.
cheap, it's not bad.
Under $3. Under $3. Which happens a lot.
Yeah. Do we know how much it is? I'm just do a quick little search here. PlayStation Store is irritating me.
I don't even think it's on sale.
It's not on the other sale.
I
It
don't think-
was on sale recently.
Hold on a second. Let
Yeah.
me just check real quick.
We just talked about it.
ST. No, okay, it's not on sale. Don't buy it. Don't buy it if it's not on sale because I think it goes for $20. They might have done a permanent price drop on that
Oh,
at one
geez,
point.
that's too much.
but yeah,
that's
not-
a $5 game,
At
$10 game.
best,
But
yeah, no,
yeah.
$5.
I mean, atmospherically, it does some things well. Like environmentally, it does some things well. As far as like a third-person platformer, like it could be worse, but it's not really that compelling. It's almost like you said, like a tech demo or something.
It
like,
feels like a flat screen game that they shoved into VR. There's nothing.
which I mean, occasionally in some ways that's cool, but it's not always that cool.
For me,
Rex,
for me, this wasn't cool.
no to Titanic VR. I know this. I know we're only doing the first part of the sale. We'll do the next week, but you know if you want
Nobody
to,
liked Titanic.
no, Titanic VR is bad.
Yeah,
Skip. That's it, guys. That's the
that's
show.
it. Oh my god, it's
PSVR2
only 3
announced.
hours and 12 minutes
It's
long.
time to rejoice, celebrate. Yeah, man. PSVR2 speculation begins. The coverage begins officially. It is definitely happening. Good stuff, man.
PSVR 2 has been announced, and our lives will never be the same.
No.
Nice. All right, guys, let's get out of here, man, because this has been a long show, especially when we preceded it with a state of play that didn't have any VR stuff in it. What?
Still pretty good. Still pretty good
It was
though.
a decent
Like
show.
if you still play flat screen games, there was some decent stuff in there.
It was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching it with you and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and all of you. It was a lot of fun. Speaking of which, thank you to everybody who hung out in the chat. Thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you to everybody who donated. We really, really appreciate your support. Please consider going to patreon.com/withoutparolegames, hooking us up with just $1 or more every month. If you like what you see, keep the lights on. We really fucking appreciate you. But you know what? Like we said, we're really just happy that you're here because we love you so very much. This is the best community of all time. And if you want to be an even more active part of the community, click the link in the description. Join our Discord because that is where we hang out far too often. I'd be way more productive if it wasn't for that Discord. But thank you to everybody. And of course, we don't want to forget about our amazing moderators who are working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that these shows go way smoother than they otherwise would. So thank you to all you guys. And of course, thank you to everybody out there who sat back, watched the show, didn't click like, didn't say a goddamn word, you just did your thing, man. But you still watch us. We know you're out there, and we love you too. Thank you, Dave. Subscribe to Dave at DayStation VR. Thank you, AJ. Subscribe to AJ over at the Underground, PSVR Underground. My name is Brian Paul.
He literally always has a name controller.
Literally,
He's always got a name controller.
He was born with it attached
what
to
do I
his
have?
hand.
I've got this. I've got Tree Guy. I don't have anything else.
This is PSVR
You wanna see
GAMESCAST.
my
And we're out.
All right, we are out of here. Thank you so much to Gamer Chick 13, the Diet Pepsi Cat, Braxton B, Johnny No Pockets, the AKA Who Dat Game Cat. Oh, KV3D, Hunter, FNAF Fan, Steve, IRE, Gary Smith, Shades of Grey Matter, Johnny Rap Off the Stray Cat, LOB, Seahawks 12, Ghost, Fire, Killer, Geiston, Fistbump to you, Brody the Game Cat, Dan Keeper, David the Game Cat, much love right back to you. Donatello the Scientist Game Cat, to the freaking cat, he says. DJ, the Pumpkin Patch Kid, hello. Let's see who we got here. Let's scroll up a little. Gabriel 004, the License to Meow Game Cat. Meow, 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 meow. Game Cat, love you too, man. Lethal Weasel VR, thanks so much, Wes, for hanging out, having fun with us as always. 9 Lives, the Game Cat, War Garble 2, Fish Laser, Buckfire.
Not just Fish Laser, you gotta mention Fish Laser. Whiplash VR, baby, demo out now. Everybody go crazy.
Go play Whiplash. Buy Dreams, which is $9.99, like I told you. Then go play Whiplash. And
Whiplash VR.
Bugfire.
Nice.
Magic the Game Cat. Thank you so much.
Bugs on fire. That seems weird.
The Triangulator, my dude. ET.2K9.now later to you as well. Cornerstone City 777. Thank you, Juan Martinez. No, Albo is not out yet, but it will be pretty soon. Who else we got here before we get out
Deathly
here?
the Death Cat.
Yeah, Deathly the Death Cat.
Deathly the Death Cat.
Ooh. Stay warm, stay warm, the Game Cat. Silent Evil 999. Marcosaur.
I've killed AJ. Good night, guys. He's dead.
You know,
Good night, everybody.
there's really
Tattooed Pain. Tattooed Pain. That's quite a name.
There's
I've
really
never seen Tattooed
nothing
Pain.
better than having the run of show, deciding what we're gonna actually talk about tonight, putting Robbie the Rabbit from Silent Hill in the thumbnail, and then not even talking about it the entire time.
Fuck Five Nights at Freddy's.
Nope, Silent Hill. Silent Hill.
I stand by what I said. I stand by what I said.
Brian,
I stand by what I said, Brian.
Silent
I
Hill.
just meant that in general
that's
because
right,
we
Brian.
talked enough about Five Nights at Freddy's that I
Raise
think
those birds in the air.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go rent some Nick Cage. That's what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm gonna order a pizza and rent Nick Cage movies.
Oh no, I've heard it's terrible. Don't do that. Willy's Wonderland. It's supposed to be
I
very
wanna
bad.
see that.
Watch
it's
Mandy
bad.
if you want to watch a Nick Cage movie.
I've seen
Mandy.
Mandy. Mandy's
Mandy
good.
is the one.
Mandy's
Okay.
fine. All right. Good night, everybody.
Or Face Off.
We love you all.
Face Off. Actually, don't watch it.